got a bit of an echo here. Geez, that's a bad way to start the show off. Welcome back, everyone. This is Lostboys Cypher Circle, home of all things artistic, home of all things spiritual. If you got a song, a poem, a rap, a story, just a conversation you want to have, this is the place to come get your thoughts, your feelings heard. Um, Judgment free, just hang out with some cool, like minded people, talk about life, share your art. It's a really cool, chill place. It's a chill environment. If you want to come on the show, message me on Facebook at Dylan Lawler or lostboy420x@gmail.com. That's Dylan Lawler on Facebook or lostboy420x on gmail.com. If you want to go follow the show, which you should because it's fucking awesome, you can follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, iHeart, Pandora, Samsung, all those places, man. Everywhere you can find your podcast, you can find us. So find us, go find us, and keep up with us. Also, keep a lookout for our extra shows that we have out on my YouTube channel, and I'll be putting some out on Spotify and various places. We have kind of this show's sister show, Lost Boys Deep Cuts, show where I bring artists on one-on-one, and we get to go deeper into the discussions because I have more time with them and can, delve deeper into how their mind works and whatnot. So keep a lookout for extra episodes of that. I also have a kind of comedy-based podcast that I do with my brother. Thank you, Brandon. A Whole Lot of Lala, hosted by Brendan and Dylan Lala. We've put out 2 episodes, one that was recorded over 2 years ago, and then one that we just did live the last Saturday night. So go check it out. Let me know what you thought about that. It's something new. It's a lot different than this, but it's fun. And also, come springtime, we will be starting a outdoor adventure vlog kind of show where we go out and we fish, we hike, that kind of thing. At the moment, I have a broken foot, so we'll see when that show comes to take place, because I have to actually be able to go out and do that shit. So yeah, yeah, keep a lookout for that. Me and my producer Brandon will be doing that. But yeah, it'll be, yeah, and he'll be posting some things of his own. So yeah, keep a lookout for that, and yeah, stay posted with the show, guys. Also, sorry. You can donate to us. You can donate to us on Cash App, on Venmo, or on PayPal. It's all the same tag, LostBoy420X. Don't forget the X, like X-Men. And if you want to comment anything tonight, drop your comments, questions, whatever below, and we'll get to them. Now, before we do get into the show, because this show is a lot of the time based around mental health, and we do talk about a lot of triggering topics and whatnot, I try to, I like to give a trigger warning. Anyone who's watching or performing, if for any reason you need to click out because you are disturbed or triggered in any way, no one will fault you in the slightest. We understand that you can get triggered by the slightest things from day to day, and but we hope that none of this does trigger you too badly. And the point of it is just to vent, to have a therapy session, and just ultimately just to have a good time. So there's that. And I kind of, my trademark thing that I always say is to everybody is keep your chin up and your head down, and know that we've been through hard times before and we will get through them again. This too shall pass. And if you need anyone to talk to, you can reach out to me. There's a lot of artists who have been on the show that would be more than happy to talk to you if you reach out to them. You can also reach out to 988 Lifeline Crisis. You can text 988 or go to their lifelinecrisis.com. They have trained professionals on hand to help you and give you some guidance. There's also betterhelp.com, which is one of the cheapest therapy things out there that I've found. And they'll hook you up with an online therapist. You can do text, call, whatever you want to do. And if you don't like the person, because oftentimes the biggest thing with therapy besides the cost is the person's just boring or a scumbag, or you just don't connect with them or whatever. And so if you have an experience like that, BetterHelp will switch you out with a therapist and get you a new one free of charge. So there's that, and I hope people find some help out there, and I hope you all enjoy the show. Again, comment down below, questions, comments, anything you want to say. Now, our first artist of the night was actually not able to make it tonight. He was going to join us during his work break, but he is understaffed and overworked, which I get all too well. Fortunately, though, he was able to send us some clips. So he has a flyer for us, and he has a poem for us. And his name, let me make sure I don't. Here we go. Joel W. Atterbury. Atterbury, yes? Okay. He's a poet. You can subscribe to him at JW Atterbury on YouTube. You can check out his website, jwatterbury.com. And I'm going to let him tell you a little bit more about himself.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing out there? This is like a PSA message. Check out my YouTube channel, JW Atterbury on YouTube. You'll see my performances from 2021, 2022, and also the 2 performances I did back in 2023. And also you can check out the poetry reading, you know what I'm saying, by Joel Washington Atterbury. Poet named Sergio Atterbury and also King Atterbury. So check me out, live and direct.
Hell yeah, man. Definitely go check out his YouTube, check out his website. And I think he said he's got some books on there and stuff like that. So definitely go check him out. I'm excited to have him on the show when we can actually get him face to face and talk to him. But for now, I'm gonna play his poem and hear what he's got to say.
They target my starship, then take off looking faceless. So I adjust my patience with love and care as maintenance. My character build is too high for the smart remarks to dent me. Though being user-friendly would have sent out good energy. Evil minds too dark to shine as I dreamscape what's in light. Forever living in the light, my chi higher than satellites. Illuminate in a different space where simple minds be cold-cased. Motivated with pure hate that the good inside them hesitate. No love on that cursed bus, so nowadays who do you trust? When your back turned or you face to face, ill talk is what's discussed. Pray hard on their terrible ways and fall back, don't engage. Don't matter what the trifling say, just brush it off and have a good day.
I like that. I like the rhyme scheme. I like the cadence. And I like how he's talking about the problems and the issues that are going on in the world right now. And I mean, kind of just what I took from it is kind of, we open our mind a little bit and wake up a little bit. And I really wish I had him in front of me so I could talk to him and really pick his mind on that piece. But I do want to see maybe what these other artists thought about it. Angela, did you catch the piece?
I did. I got back just in time for that. Yeah.
What did you
No,
think of it?
I liked it. No, I agree with you. I really like the all of it. I like the rhyme scheme, but also the message. I think that's, to me, that when I write poetry, there's always something in there that's almost painful, I guess. That makes sense.
Yeah, do get that. Yeah.
That was definitely realistic, and I did like the rhyme scheme as well, so I agree as well. He definitely had a message to it that generates what's going on today. So yeah, that was good.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll say, I appreciate anybody who's willing to be vulnerable out loud, that's willing to really be honest about what they feel and what they're going, especially when it comes from men, because, men normally don't talk about what they really feel and what they're really experiencing out of fear of being weak or whatever. So I appreciate that whenever I see a gentleman being vulnerable and open and honest about what they're experiencing.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree with that. And yeah, I mean, there's something to be said for. I mean, I think all poetry, like you were saying, has like some emotion or some pain in it. But there is a thing in society, especially nowadays, with men having to be less vulnerable and having to keep their emotions kind of tucked away, and we're kind of coming out of that a little more. But yeah, I especially from a male, yeah.
It's
And that's
funny you
as a male myself, I am guilty of kind of tucking my emotions away in everyday life, but I do try to let it come out in my work like that, you know.
yeah, well, and on top of that, being able to share it with others. It's one thing to write it down, and then it's another to share it with the world.
Oh, there he is in the comments. Yes, thank you all for your feedback. Hell yeah, man! Can't wait to have you actually on the show. But
Yeah.
fire
Thank
piece,
you
we
for
love
sharing.
great piece, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Hands yellow heart red. Wait, hold on. What? Maybe I'm not reading that correctly.
I think
That's
they're
gonna
probably
need.
supposed to be.
I think that's gonna need some explaining. But anyway,
I think those are emojis.
Those are
Maybe.
supposed to be emojis.
it's
Yeah.
sending that's funny. It's sending the emojis as words. That's fucking
That's my
hilarious.
best friend right there.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right. That's hilarious. All right. Anyway, that being said, we are going to move on to our first artist of the night. Our first artist that is here, I should say. And her name is Jay Catrice. She's a poet. You can follow her on Instagram at poetic _ insanity 18. On TikTok at Jay Catrice 4, or subscribe to her on YouTube at Catrice, or it's like how mine is Dylan Lawler and it's Lostboys. Hers is Jay Catrice and Poetic Insanity. So you can go and check her out on YouTube, and I'm gonna play her flyer and get her up here.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I was feeling that.
Getting down to that shit. Me too. Me too.
Oh man, that's a good intro. I love that beat. That just kind of perfect. Perfect.
Yeah. Hyped you up. How you doing?
I'm good. How about you? I'm so glad I was able to finally get on here.
Yeah. I think I found you. I found you on like TikTok. I seen you on TikTok, and I was like, I messaged you, and I was like, I gotta get her on the show. That was months ago. Months ago, but I'm glad to finally have you on here. Thank you.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here, and I appreciate you for supporting me. It means a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. So first time on the show. If you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and how you got started and whatnot.
No, yeah, absolutely. So as you can see, my name is Jay Catrice. I am a born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. Mother, poet, full-time 9-to-5er, and I write as much as I possibly can. I perform as much as I possibly can. I have a 10-year-old son who is the center of my life and my world. If I'm not outside, I'm with him. And I host a Hump Day Healing open mic and chit chat on Instagram. I'm not as consistent as I used to be due to life, but you can catch all the replays on my YouTube channel or on my Instagram page, as mentioned earlier. And also, if you missed it, it's poetic _ insanity 18. You can catch all the replays. I will be removing those replays from my Instagram channel, so you will have to go to YouTube to catch them. But I think that's about it. Writing is life. Poetry saved my life, as we always say. Like I said earlier, I love to hear people of all genders and races and places in life to just be vulnerable and open up. And I like to say healing out loud. When we decide to be vulnerable and share our words out loud, because oftentimes in our communities we're told to be silent and just push through and just try to be tough and you'll be all right, just get through it. And what about that time where you can't get through it? What do you do? How do you do it? And that's why I love poetry and creatives, because we can put it on paper, put it to music, whatever, and we can get it out. Some of us can't afford $150 therapist. You know what I'm saying? But paper is it's not free, but it's darn sure close to it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Yeah.
that saves our lives every time, and that's what I love. That's what I enjoy doing. So thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share one of my loves here tonight.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, that's that's what my poetry is about, and that's what my show is about. It's, bringing people together to speak our truths out loud, and I like what you said, healing out loud. I like that. I really like that. I'm gonna use that, healing out
Yeah,
loud. Yeah.
absolutely. Please
I
do.
mean, that's really what the show is all about. It's a lot of shows like this are like more like talent shows, and I like to think of this as more of like a therapy session.
Yeah,
Weekly therapy. I say our weekly talent show and therapy session because it's kind of
yeah,
just you know a place to just not only come in and speak your truth through your poetry, but I give people the opportunity to talk and you know about themselves and how they think about the world, and I mean we have some really good in-depth conversations on here, and um I mean running this show isn't free either, but it's freer than it's cheaper than therapy. I mean, it's even cheaper than fucking BetterHelp. By the way, that's not sponsored. That's just something I throw in there just in case people want to find a cheaper solution for therapy. But I mean, this is my solution. This is about probably $50 to $60 cheaper than BetterHelp, and it
Hmm.
helps me. So,
Yeah. I
you know,
agree. I
yeah.
agree with that. I will say with my platform, Hump Day Healing, is I've always said it was free therapy because it's not just, poets getting up there. And I know you're gonna get those poets that wanna, spit their stuff and then, you know, just drop the mic. You know what I'm saying? But what I love about platforms like this and platforms like mine is you take the time to get to know the artist. You take the time to get to know where they are, maybe why they wrote the piece, when they wrote the piece. And even though, you have several poets on the platform, you may not have time to dig as deep as you want, but just to show that level of interest in the artist. You know what I'm saying? Because when we go to these venues, people don't really care, where you came from, what you do, why you created the piece you did. They just care about what you're saying and does it move them in the moment. And I just think that these platforms are really important. So thanks
Thank you.
again for
Yeah,
doing this.
thank you for being part of it. And I mean, I was just thinking about it yesterday, or I mean, earlier today, actually. E- Every show, I could come on here and I could spit poetry by myself, and I could talk
Mhm.
about it, but it would be like a 20-minute show. It would be, it wouldn't be, and it wouldn't be anything close to the level of not even just quantity, but quality that I get, because the quality that I get from this show is where I'm talking to other people, and like we're reaching out and we're touching each other's souls, and like feeding each other energy, and like hyping each other up, and motivating each other, and inspiring each other, and just doing all that through sharing and talking, just good old fashioned kindergarten show and tell, and
Yeah,
and so many amazing things come from it. So I'm glad that you see the beauty in it, and thank you for being here again.
absolutely,
um,
absolutely.
what's the first piece you're going to be doing for us tonight?
I'm gonna get into one night right now. Both of the pieces or all the pieces, however many I do tonight, are all just about being vulnerable and just healing out loud. So,
All right, let's get into this one.
all right. One night, I decided to cry my last tears of love. I was tired of wiping my tears of disappointment from unmet expectations. I decided that love was all around me, and I didn't have to work for it. My cup overflows with familial fondness and warmth consistently. I began to believe that sacrifice don't always equal love. What love is, well, what I want, is not to be protected but projected in love. I am dope enough for that. God brought me back from the dead for that, not to peel or to scratch or claw at human soul to feel a heart beating against mine. One night, I lost sleep on purpose to search earth for meaning, to find loose sand to place my footprints in. I found that my purpose is to speak for those that can't find words to be vulnerable, for those who are afraid to say they've been made to feel less than that broken-hearted girl, that soul who prefer to remain hidden behind textbooks and fiction novels. One night, I remember that this life ain't fiction, so I write what my truth says. Sometimes we lose ourselves in social media, fake news, and the hustle. So I write through depression. I write through fear. I write in the middle of anxiety attacks for the daughters who can't seem to make their parents proud enough, for the girlfriends who think they will never be good enough to be the woman of his or her dreams. I write for the broken-hearted souls that keep their guards up because we don't know you like that. I write for those who ain't spoke to God in so long you fear his voice you won't recognize. Now what? Inauthenticity had me messed up, but I'm healing and loving. So tonight, I cry my last tears for external love, because my love internal means more to me than anybody, because my love is for an eternity. It's that poem.
Ooh.
Thank
Mm,
you.
God
Thank you. Thank you.
damn.
Thank you.
First of all, first thing I want to say is thank you, because that poem, more than almost any I've heard, represented like just what I do this for. The Lost Boys, like that is for the lost people in this world.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the strong, the ones who can't stand up for themselves. I've always one of my biggest things has been bullies and standing
Mhm.
up for people who can't stand up for themselves, and just um I've always felt like an outcast. I've always felt like a lost boy, and more than anything, that felt
Mhm.
like um you're a soul. I have a guest on here that comes on sometimes. His name is James Hamilton, and he calls himself, I believe it is, a soldier of the word.
Mhm.
I believe that, and it's that concept of, you're using basically like a superhero. You're using your power. With great power comes great responsibility. You're using your power to protect those who can't protect themselves, to help those who can't help themselves, and make those who can't, build those up, build those, people who are trodden down up, and make them feel stronger. And I really appreciate that. I also have another artist who's on here right now, and she has a group called Warriors of the Word,
Mhm.
which I'll bring her up to see what she thought of your piece too, Angela. Um,
Yes.
but when I saw your group name, Warriors of the Word, it made me think of that same concept too. Is we are, as artists, we are warriors of the word, and we like
Yeah.
you carried that I would say duty out elegantly in that piece. That it's a duty that we carry out as artists, with having the talent that we do. We have to use it in that way, and I feel it's a duty, and you carried that out elegantly. And yeah, I want to know what you guys thought of it.
I
Yeah, it
loved
was
it.
me too. It was an amazing piece, and I love that it was talking about speaking out on behalf of those who can't or are too afraid, maybe, to speak up for themselves.
Mhm.
It was very
Thank you.
powerful.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that was heck moving. That really was. And the fact that there are those of us that loved that feel compelled to speak for those who don't speak for themselves.
Mhm.
Like it could be out of fear. Um, it's just that was very moving. That really was. That was great. I really liked
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely, absolutely. And I think we had we had comments that were cheering you on too, but they went away. But anyway, yeah, one night was amazing and beautiful. But yeah, everybody loved it. That was fantastic. And again, not only thank you for sharing that, but thank you for being a soldier of the word, as my buddy would say. Um, definitely. And
Thank
I'll
you.
catch
Thank
you
you.
again. I'll catch you again in a few minutes for your next piece.
All right.
Hell yeah. So that being said, ladies and gentle folks, um, I'm all out of whack tonight. Our second guest is Miss Nasira. She was on, I believe, not our last show, but the one before it, if I'm not mistaken. She's an author and a poet. She has 6 books out on Amazon. One of them is a 3-part series, the Kidra books. Another book is My Beloved Curse, The Longing, and Malady of a Frankenstein. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. And I believe she's going to share some of that book with us tonight. You can, if you want to follow her, you can follow her on Instagram at Mistress to the Pen, spelt very weird, MZ T sorry, MZSTEZ 2, like the number 2, TH, and then pen, PEN. You can follow her on Facebook at the author Nasira Stewart, or on TikTok at Camila Stewart 55. And I'm gonna play her flyer and get her up here. There's her flyer. No, that's not her. Hey, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
I'm all right. Sorry if I jumbled your whole intro there. I a little out of whack tonight.
That's all right. I was waiting to see if my music was going to be pumped up.
I used the flyer that I had from last time. I didn't know it. I have a bunch of different ones. I can change it next time. I'll give you something. I'll give you something spunky next time. I'll give you a little bit of funk. I'll be a little fucking like.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll hook you up next time. I promise.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So how you doing tonight?
I'm doing fine. I had to pat myself on the back last night because I know the last of my 4-book deal is getting ready to come out in a couple of months. So I just finished up. Thanks. I just finished up a new series that's called Essence of a Moon Eclipse. And then I also have A True Heart that is done. And then now I'm working on another series right now. So I was glad that I got those 2 ready so that when The Liar comes out, I can go ahead and say, hey, Christine, I got these 3 books, and send them over to her. And hopefully she'll go ahead and take them. I did get, I was celebrating the other day because I got my royalty report. And altogether total, the Kidra series is now at 15,000 copies. The Longing is now at 12,000. My Beloved Curse is now at 10,000. And Melody is struggling just a little bit. I only have like 130 copies of her sold. And I believe I know why it's struggling just a little bit. When you're an author and you're writing books, sometimes you'll take a hit. And that's not uncommon. There's little bitty things that you can do to tweak it, like maybe my synopsis is not coming across the way I wanted to. It is my first LGBTQ book that I've written as far as horror romance. I put a different spin on the whole Frankenstein genre. And that might be sometimes when you come up with something new, sometimes it doesn't come across the way you want it to.
Especially, and I don't know much about that genre as a audience member for like I read more fantasy and stuff like that. But I will say, especially just in society, like that's a very touchy subject, no matter, and everybody has a slightly different opinion on it, no matter what you think. And so, I mean, it could be because of the controversy, but like you said, it could just be, just the wording in your synopsis or whatever. But also, not every thing is going to be a smash hit,
Right.
even the biggest artists, the biggest and best artists have just,
Absolutely.
I mean, even if they're good songs, they're just flops. I mean, you know what I mean? They just don't sell well for some reason.
Yeah.
But you can't beat yourself up about that. You know what I mean? You gotta just like, it's not, you can't even gonna look at it as like a bump in the road. It's just kind of like, okay, that's that. I'm moving on to my next thing. And what it seems like you got a lot more to move on to too is, that it's like a damn production line you got going on. Just pumping them out. That's crazy. That is insane.
Yeah, I enjoy writing. I had a member in my group the other day. She was like, "Well, what do you do when you have writer's block?" And I'm like, "What's that?" She says, "Don't you ever get to the point where you just can't move forward?" And I'm like, "Nope, it just doesn't happen to me. I can sit here and churn out novels until my fingers fall off. There's so many different scenarios when it comes to horror romance. I also write a suspense romance as well, and I've never had a point in my writing where I just got stuck. It just doesn't happen to me. It never has. I don't know that experience. But you are correct. Even though it's not selling the way that I wanted to sell, and I know that the current climate right now may have something to do with that as well, because the other books are doing far more than I expected. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Um, but sometimes, like you say, you can think it's great, and then for some reason it just doesn't come across. And so you're like, okay, well, that's that one. Let me go ahead and keep going with these. And that's my mindset. I'm going to tweak the synopsis a little bit to see maybe that might be encouraging. But other than that, if it doesn't sell anymore, then it just didn't sell good.
One, so when I was in high school, I wrote what I thought was like the beginning, or at least like a novella. Either my first book or a novella or the beginning of a book. Like, and I thought it was perfect. It could like write. And I took it to my writing teacher at the time, who I greatly respect, Harry Jones, an amazing guy. And he read it, and he was like, "You want my honest opinion?" And I mean, he gave me props for everything I wrote, and every piece I handed into him, or even if it just wasn't an assignment, like, something I was just showing him, everything I handed him, he gave me huge props on it. And he put it down on the desk, and he said, "I like this." That's the first thing I'm going to say. The second thing I'm going to say is, go stick this in a drawer and forget about it. Go stick this in a fucking drawer somewhere and forget about it and move on to your next thing. And it was probably some of the best advice he ever gave me, to be honest. Like, I've gone back and read that, and that was not ready. That was not anywhere close to what I thought it was. And he was very good advice. It was very good. It was good, but like the manuscript was good content. It needed to be it needed to be fleshed out. It needed to be slept on. It needed more. And it's not just with writing something either. It's sometimes you just, I mean, even with house chores, right? You gotta set the broom down and just do dishes for a minute because you're getting frustrated, or whatever it is.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah. Sometimes you just gotta learn, set it aside, don't think about it, and come back to it.
Yeah.
And maybe maybe coming back to it is you write a short story in that universe, or maybe coming back to it is you write the second book in that, whatever. Or maybe coming back to it is you just accept it for what it is and let it be and go on to your next thing, or you know what I mean, and you don't go back to it at all, like that. But yeah, there's a lot of ways you can go there, but I just don't let it drag you down.
No, no, I'm,
Yeah.
I'm good with it. I usually when you write one good book, it does lead you to the next one, and that's cool. But if it doesn't do as productive as the rest of them, I'm going to give it a little bit more time. Uh, it was just one of those things. I'm glad I wrote it. It got out there. It did sell. It just didn't sell along the grand slam as the other ones did, but it still sold, and I still got paid for it. So I'm
Hey, money's money. Money's money, and recognition is recognition at
right.
the end of the day,
Complain. I'm not gonna complain. It was a blessing that it got out there, and it did sell some copies. So who knows? It could pick up. Nobody, you never know. When it
Yeah,
comes to this industry, you never know.
yeah, absolutely. Definitely. I mean, so you've been on here before, and we did just talk about a little bit about your work or whatever. But if there's anything you'd like to add, as far as anything I missed in your intro or anything like that, or just anything else you want to say to the people, feel free.
Well, I did bring a poem in addition to the excerpt as my second piece.
All right. And the excerpt, was I correct as the excerpt from the Frankenstein novel?
Yes, the excerpt is going to be from Malady. I have the book here, and I'll show you the cover on the second end. But this poem is called "How Do I Pray."
All right.
I wrote this poem when my second oldest son needed a kidney transplant,
Oh,
and I wrote this while I had just left his room. He was in sedation. He was having a pretty rough day medically. He was. I had it sparked from a conversation I had with him, where they told him that he needed to go on dialysis, and his fear of that whole thing. And I went to see him after he did get the transplant, because he was blessed to get one. And this was just my whole feelings about the whole process, from the time that we were looking for a donor and the time that we found out he had to have a kidney replaced. And at that time, he and my brother, my only brother, were both on dialysis. And I lost my brother to COVID in 2020, day after Thanksgiving. And my son is my second oldest son out of my kids. So this is what my general feelings were about the whole thing.
wow. Before you even get started, just I've been to tremendous loss as well, and I haven't really been able to write a whole lot about it. My mom passed away in 2020,
No.
and anytime I see someone come on my show and do a piece about just loss, my mom was sick for 13 years, so I know what it's like to see someone struggle as well. I've just not been able to write too much about it for some reason, and I just want to give anyone who is able to write it props, because that's more I don't know what to call it, gumption than I have.
Yeah.
There's been a few pieces, but yeah, no, props to you for being able to take your pain and your the things you've been through and turn it into a piece. And I'm ready to hear it, so I'm gonna drop myself out of here.
Okay. How do I pray? There he is. I gave birth to him. Rebellious, self-centered, boisterous, oft-times correct, oft-times corrected. I see him, even though he's a grown man with a daughter of his own, 3 sons, but yet to me, he's the baby boy at my breast, 2 steps from being an allergic baby at birth. Always needed to be careful with sandgrass and dirt, was always mischievous, a prankster, and sometimes a household troublemaker. He's lying there asleep with shunts in his arms so deep. How do I pray? Disease has taken a hold of his body. His kidney has become weak. With the machines that now wash his blood twice a week, be careful what you eat. Drink and drink. He was told before, but didn't listen to what was said. And now this bed is a result of his disdain for not doing what was said. How do I play? Does anyone understand? I'm his mother. I want the best for him. I want him to continue to grow and play with his kids and enjoy a life with them, and teach my grandsons how to avoid the pitfalls of being young black men, and be there for his daughter if she lets him in. How do I pray? They say it's simple, but it's not. A new kidney is his lot, and the machines, although they say he can use them every day, but not forever. How do I pray? I have a Christian heart. I care for my fellow man, but this is different. This is what is in demand. I want God to bless him and put him back together, but I have to pray for the right donor to sacrifice his life to give to another. How do I pray? Knowing that how it's done, with no family members that can come to rescue and offer their organs. They say we're not compatible. How can that be when all of them came from me? I never want to bring anyone harm. I pray for those that come into peril, but this is my son, and sometimes someone has to die so that my son can have a healthy and rise, can be healthy and rise out of the danger and walk out of this hospital room upright like a soldier. How do I pray? Waiting for the call from the team of transplants revelation to let us know that someone's demise is his salvation. How do I pray? And of the donor and his salvation. What of the family that had to lose so that he could win a life? How the hell do you choose? How do I pray for the destruction and death of someone so that my son could be blessed? How do I pray? How do I pray? Do I ask God's forgiveness for being a mother that wants her son to live at the hands of the death of another? How do I pray? I have to be resolved that God knows what he's doing. But how do mothers like me pray for a life to be ruined, to be snuffed out, and to have them give out vital organs so that others, like my son, will get a life that can be had? How do I pray? But my heart aches for the mother of the child or the family of the person that had to give up their life so that my son can take the organ. We are both saying the same thing, the organ donor and I, and we both want our loved ones to live. We don't want them to die. We are both asking God to please give us this blessing so that our loved ones can survive, so they can keep on living. Except for me, I need someone to mercifully die so that a kidney will help my son stay alive. How do I pray? How do I pray? How do you pray?
Wow. That hit me very deeply on a lot of levels. Like I said, I've watched someone suffer, but something I will say is, I think that it's different, and I don't think you should have to watch any family member suffer, but I don't think a parent should have a child shouldn't have to watch their parents suffer either, but I think that it's much worse for a parent to watch a child suffer or to lose a child. And I can't even imagine what that's like. But the fact that you were able to put it in such elegant words and just, I mean, and you didn't sacrifice rhyme scheme, you didn't sacrifice structure of your piece at all, but you told this gut-wrenching story and were able to put it in words that I could never, and that is truly, truly amazing. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. I want to bring these other artists up here to see what they thought about it.
First, I want to say thank you. Just thank you for deciding to be, open, and again, healing out loud. I'm just gonna keep repeat that all night. For sharing it with us. It breaks my heart to know that journey and for you to go through that journey. But the fact that you were able, to have the courage to share it, I'm amazed. And so thank you for sharing your courage and your healing journey with us.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
This absolutely reinforces my belief that all artists are tortured and the best poetry comes from pain. But that was a really good example of the healing out loud. Like, amazing. And I knew you were gonna make me cry as soon as you started reading, because my oldest son was in a really bad car accident, and so I know I've been there with not knowing, what the outcome was gonna be, and it's very, very hard. So
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for being strong enough to share that with us. And I think that you touched a lot of people, and that will help some other people heal as well, if that brings you any comfort. Because that's something that sometimes brings me comfort in my pieces, is when I'm able to use my pain to kind of help someone else or connect with someone else. So I just want to let you know, you definitely connected with me. You definitely connected with these other artists and the people in the comments as well. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate
And
that.
we'll catch you again in a few minutes for your next piece.
Okay.
All right. And that is going to bring us to our third artist of the night, ladies and gentlemen. Angela Harris. She's an author and a poet. You can find her a lot of places, actually. Angela Harris.com. You can follow her on Facebook, TikTok, and Tumblr at Angela's Scribbles with an S. On Instagram at Angela Harrison Author. You can find her book that I'm not going to try to mispronounce because I don't want to butcher it. I'll let her tell you what it is on Amazon under her author page, Angela Harrison. And you can join her creative writing Facebook group that I was talking about earlier called Word Warriors. And it's a group much like my Lostboys group where, writers and poets come together and just share their stuff and stuff and talk and stuff. So, yeah, I'm going to play her flyer and get her up here. Sorry, I didn't give you a hip hop beat either.
That's okay.
I had a couple on tab and I just wanted to give each of you a different one. So, but anyway,
Okay.
how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. Happy to be here.
Good. I'm happy to have you. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, everybody's poetry was so amazing. It makes me regret that I picked fiction instead of some of my poetry for today. But hey, BB.
hey, you're all good. I mean, if you have a poem in front of you and you wanna switch up, that's okay. And if you want to just do your fiction for tonight, that's okay too. Because like I said at the beginning, like it's not just poetry. Like there's a lot of shows like this, and most of them, and it's not ragging on any of them. They are all amazing shows, and I have appeared on many of them. But they're mostly poetry. I kind of try to encompass everything. Poetry, artwork. We had a person not last week but the week before, which was our last actual episode, who draws and does digital art and stuff. So yeah, no, I love to hear your stories for sure.
Awesome.
But
Yeah.
why don't
Well,
you tell us?
I write. Go
Go ahead.
ahead.
Sorry. I was just gonna say,
I
why
say
don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? But it sounds like you were going to, so go ahead.
Yeah, I write fiction, I write poetry, I write everything. I started writing in like sixth grade. I blame my sixth grade language arts teacher. Um, he had us make books. We wrote stories all year long and poems, and then we put them all together at the end. And I just kind of got bitten by that bug. I started
Radioactive
writing.
spider.
What? Yeah.
Radioactive spider.
And now I'm a feral writer. So that's what happened. That's how it happened. Like the full moon and yeah. But like I said, I feel like I wrote a lot of poetry when I was younger, and then I met my husband, and I don't. I feel like I quit writing poetry when I wasn't just sad all the time anymore. Um, yeah. So, but I have written I've tried to brush it off lately. I've written some stuff. It's a little different than my earlier stuff, but yeah, I keep one of these days saying I'm going to put it all together and publish it, but we'll see. It's the
I
same thing with my
definitely
books. I've got one published novella. I have so many stories in process, but so we'll see if I manage to get them out there.
What is
Hopefully,
that book called again? I didn't want to butcher it in the intro. It starts with an E.
that's okay. Idolin.
Idolin. Okay. All right.
Idolin.
Yeah. So go check
And
out her book on Amazon, Idolin.
I thought I was very clever. It's like a Greek word that means like ghost or specter. And then I publish it
Okay.
and I find out there's like 100 other books out there with the same title. So
Oh,
I'm like, oh,
really?
well,
No, because I haven't ever heard that before. And I am like I said, I'm big into fantasy. I'm like, and especially, I mean, even I'm big into Greek mythology too. And I've never heard that word. Maybe I have once, but that's a deep cut for deep Greek mythology for sure. Because I am like,
Oh,
I
me.
grew up like Percy Jackson was my, I started with Percy Jackson and then I just like it snowballed and I read all the Greek myths, like the classic ones. I mean, the ones written in like Old English and stuff. Like never heard
Beowulf.
Idolin. I may never, maybe I did once, but I don't know. But that's clever because a lot of movies and media and books nowadays are struggling to come up with original ideas, especially original names for things. Like for example, the new Godzilla X Kong movies, and they call them Titans. In classic mythology, they're kaijus, but they couldn't use kaijus because Pacific Rim started using kaijus.
Oh,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? And so you kind of get stuck in this spot where it's like, how many different names for this mythological creature are there? You know what I mean? That you can
Right.
and turns out that there's thousands. You know, for thousands of words for vampire, thousands of words for dragon, yet thousands of words for a
In
spirit,
which
a specter. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I actually incorporated. I have a one of my works in progress. I was looking for different words for, like, the Nephilim, the fallen angels, like the Anunnaki, and there's just so many different terms. So I actually, in so many different legends, I incorporated it actually in my story, where I have like a human asking, like, well, which myths are true, and the answer is, the little some of this and some of that, and some of them get it a little bit right, and yeah.
Here's the thing that I've always thought about, like, in a mythological term or in these books, is like all these beings have been around for thousands or millions of years or whatever. So it's like, do we really remember where like, you know what I mean? They don't, they, if you were alive for 10,000 years, would you remember where you went to elementary school? You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking about, is so it gets in these mythical universes, the true mythology of it all kind of gets lost because no one remembers, because they're all old as fuck, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And if say vampires, for example, if they were real, of course there's going to be so many names for them because different cultures and different time periods, and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and they've all come up with their own versions of them. But yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
very clever. I really like you coming up with a new, fresh word that I haven't heard before for a ghost. So I really like that.
Yeah, I,
What
I
do
had a
you
little I had a little trouble classifying it. I'm like, I don't know if it's like gothic, a gothic romance, or it's a ghost story for sure, but
now?
yeah. I
Is that what
really
you're sharing? Is that what you're sharing with us tonight?
I'm going to read the first chapter of it. Yes.
Awesome,
So,
awesome. First, I have super ADHD, so I tend to get off track and just be like, two things. First of all, I love your bookcase, and I can see Harry Potter stacked up right in the background. And only a true nerd can point out Harry Potter from this distance, right? Um. Anyway, yeah. And second, I did want to see the book cover, your book cover.
oh, well,
Yeah. Oh, that's
this
cool.
is
I
the
like that.
paperback.
That's cool. That's cool.
It's
Did you have an artist do that, or how did that come
No,
about?
so this was, if you do it through Amazon, they have some like pre-made covers you can kind of go through and choose from. So I wasn't planning to do hard copies. I was just going to do the ebook, because I feel like everybody nowadays, they download their books. And then my mother was like if she can't hold it in her hands, it's not real. So I was like, all right, so I'll make the paperback. And
You know,
so I just kind of,
I'm only going on 23, but I feel the same way. Like I need to be able to hold it. Um,
yeah. Well,
I still have a
they
big thing about physical albums too, like the actual disc, and I know it gets scratched, but it's just something about having it.
they I
Um,
like the way they sound. Like they
yeah.
sound, the records, yeah.
And they've
So
started making vinyls again too. Uh, that makes me so happy. My sister actually has a vinyl player. Anyway, I'm gonna let you get into your first chapter of Idolin. And I'm
yes.
gonna draw myself out of here.
All right. Chapter 1, Awakening. Mm. Prince Nikolai McKenna stood viewing blueprints as workmen in orange vests scurried around the room. His jet black hair was just short enough to not fall on his onyx-colored eyes as they pored over the plans. I'm glad you're remodeling the old throne room, Nick. His best friend Hunter was peering over his shoulder. I don't believe in all that supernatural crap, but it's a little creepy in here. Hunter's light golden brown hair flopped down into his copper colored eyes as he glanced around the room. I thought the place could use a facelift, Nikolai replied. Besides, what do we need two throne rooms for? I'm thinking bowling alley. It was a mystery why the old one had stopped being used. There was nothing structurally wrong with it, even though it was close to 400 years old. It had been sealed off and forgotten 3 centuries ago. Hey guys, there you are, a voice called from the doorway. They told me I could find you in here. I got here early for the ambassador's ball tonight. I thought we could grab some lunch. Nikolai turned to greet his new guest. Hey Rex, come on in. Reginald Thatcher, Rex to his friends, hesitated at the threshold as his cobalt blue eyes swept the room. Dark and dank, the smell of mildew permeated the air. Dingy stone floors stretched from wall to wall. Tall stained glass windows threw long reddened shadows across the dim interior. The ceiling rose upwards 3 stories with huge exposed wooden beams. Candle chandeliers hung from the ceiling along the length of the room. 2 thrones sat at the far end of the room on a raised dais, burnished gold gleaming dully in the deepening gloom. A chill crawled down his spine as he took in the murky interior, inky blackness coalescing in the corners, glimmering, almost breathing. No thanks. He stepped back over the threshold, the hair on the back of his neck standing up as goosebumps erupted all over his body. What's up with him? Hunter frowned. Nikolai shrugged. Don't know, but come on, let's go get some lunch. Hunter exited the room first. Nikolai followed behind him. As he reached the door frame, he felt something brush the back of his neck, like a lover's soft exhale. He spun toward the interior, peering into the gloom. Nothing but an empty room greeted him. He glanced up at the ceiling. A draft was getting in somewhere. You coming, Nick? Hunter called. He and Rex were already halfway down the hall. Yeah, I'm coming. He hurried through the doorway, sure that he heard a faint voice whisper his name. He dismissed it as a combination of stress and lack of adequate sleep. Though he had been destined for the throne since the day of his birth, his father had largely neglected to prepare him for it, but then he had neglected to be much of a father at all. Now that the king was preparing to retire from public service, years sooner than expected, the young prince was struggling to get up to speed. Late nights and long meetings were catching up with him, he decided. That was all it was. The construction crew went to work with the demolition of what appeared to be a completely pointless wall protruding from the original stone on the north wall as Nikolai and his friends left. 4 hours later, construction paused as a hole in the wall revealed a horrifying secret. A body. The clothes mostly rotted away, clinging to remnants of bone. The crew stood around as the medical team swarmed the room. We're going to need to slowly remove the rest of this wall so we can get the skeleton out intact. How old do you think it is? The foreman asked. Hard to say until we can get a better look at it, the medical examiner told him. But this room's been sealed up for centuries, right? Yeah. What's really weird is how dry it is inside this wall, he said as his gaze fell on the glistening dampness of the stone floor. The wall itself was incongruous with the rest of the room. The other 3 walls were still just the original stone. It's why Nikolai had ordered it torn out. We'll have to be careful not to damage the skeleton. It will be slow going. We'll start in the morning, the foreman replied before turning to his crew and shooing them out. They'd already been dismissed for the day, but everyone had stuck around to gawk at the gruesome discovery. The men filtered out of the room and the door was pulled closed for the night. The sun went down. Darkness spilled across the stone. In the deep, quiet stillness of the night, something stirred inside the wall. It lifted and pulled away from the bundle of cloth and bone, freed from its prison at long last. The door to the throne room slowly creaked open. The gloominess of the old throne room was a stark contrast to what was going on down the original hallway, around the corner, and down the main corridor of the palace. The grand ballroom was lit brightly with electric lights. Music from a live orchestra spilled out of the room and flowed down the hallways, echoing distantly down the ancient hallway. Liquor and laughter flowed freely. Handsome men in elegant tuxedos twirled beautiful women around as their dresses of fine linen, lace, tulle, and silk fanned out as they danced, vibrant colors on display. Nelson Vandross was a little tipsy as he staggered down the grand hallway in search of a bathroom. He'd been to the palace many times, but a bit too much champagne had him turned around. He was standing at the wrong end of the hallway, the one that intersected with the hall leading to the older parts of the palace. He corrected his course, ready to head back toward the bathrooms, when he heard his name. Nelson. A woman's voice, soft and pleasing, tempting, alluring. He shivered as a sliver of desire pulled through him. The voice called again, and he corrected course once again, stumbling down the 400-year-old hallway toward the enticing sound. Nikolai stood at the bar, feeling the weight of the world on his shoulders. The bourbon helped. He threw back his third or fourth glass of the night. Sleep had become an elusive thing since his father had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, ensuring the weight of the crown would be thrust upon him much sooner than expected. Perhaps tonight the alcohol would help. He glanced at his watch. It was late. The ball was winding down. He said his goodbyes to the guest, waiting for the ballroom to empty before heading up to bed. He made his way through the darkened palace halls alone. Hunter lived at the palace, in the wing that housed the royal guards, and they would often walk back to the rooms together, but Hunter had disappeared with the daughter of a count an hour ago. Nikolai. He froze as he heard his name. He glanced up and down the hallway in confusion. Hello? No one answered. He shrugged it off and continued his trek toward the royal chambers. He showered and changed, but sleep was still elusive. He poured himself another tumbler of bourbon and pulled open the ornate French doors of his balcony, letting the cold winter air waft into the room. He stepped onto the stone veranda and his gaze turned toward the tower that housed the old throne room. It was in the north wing of the palace, visible from his vantage point. His gaze fixed on it. He felt a pull toward it, an overwhelming desire to leave his room and follow the voice. Somehow, he knew that's where it was coming from. She was calling him, and he wanted to answer. Bourbon forgotten on the baluster, the young prince hurried back through the French doors and across his room. He threw open the door only to collide with the person on the other side. A woman with fiery red hair was standing there, hand raised to knock. Oof. Sorry, Esme. What are you doing here this late? Lady Esme Crassus had grown up at the palace with him and his younger brother after the death of her own parents 2 decades earlier. Her father and his mother had been cousins, so the royal family had taken her in. I came to check on you. She gave him a strange look. What are you doing rushing out of your room at this hour? I couldn't sleep. It wasn't a lie. It wasn't the truth either. Still having trouble sleeping? She pushed past him into the room. Yes. He reluctantly shut the door with a sorrowful glance into the hallway. Let me fix you the Crassus nightcap special. If it's bourbon, I've already tried that. She gave him a fond smile as she shooed him into a chair. Sit. Trust me. He sat. He trusted her. Esme was like a sister to him. With her body between Nikolai and the drink cart, Esme mixed bourbon, apple cider, and seltzer. She deftly pulled a small green vial from her pocket and dumped the contents into the drink. She stirred it all together and added a cherry before turning and handing it to Nikolai. He took it doubtfully. I don't see how adding fruity shit to my bourbon's going to help, Esme. No offense. None taken. Just try it. For me. Fine, he sighed. The drink went down smoothly. It was good. Just the right amount of sweetness blended with a faint hint of crisp autumn apples. Warmth and contentment seeped through his body, sinking into his very bones as he sipped it. Tension eased and stress drained away. Damn, this is good. Esme pulled the royal blue comforter and sheets back and gestured to the bed. Why don't you lie down? I'll get out of here and let you sleep. Good idea. Thanks, Esme, he mumbled as he crawled under the covers. Sleep pulled him quickly under as the elixir worked its magic. Esme slipped out of his room and down the hallway, her mind spinning with a wealth of new information. An ancient evil had awakened, and with it, her memories. When the construction crew entered the original throne room in the morning, another gruesome surprise awaited them. Once again, construction stalled as the medical team swarmed the room. This time, the body was fresh. Nelson Vandross was dead. There's not a mark on him, no blood loss, no sign of trauma at all, the chief of palace security told Nikolai. The news had interrupted the breakfast Nikolai had been having with Hunter and Rex. Rex having spent the night at the palace after the ball rather than making the long drive back to his duchy. So it's like something just sucked the life force out of him? Don't be dramatic, Rex, Hunter scoffed. There will be an autopsy. He probably had an undiagnosed heart condition or something. Maybe he suffered a stroke. He was awfully young for a heart attack or stroke, Rex said doubtfully. Nikolai had other concerns. But what was he doing here, in this part of the palace in the first place? It makes no sense. Your Highness, a young lieutenant approached him. Yes. Has anyone apprised you of the other body that was found? Nikolai blinked slowly. What other body? The guardsman took them to the wall and explained the discovery that had been made the night before. Hunter let out a low whistle. I told you this room was creepy, right, Rex? Rex? He looked around the room, but Rex was gone. He left the minute they said skeleton in the wall. Nikolai chuckled, as if a centuries-old skeleton could hurt anyone. Come on, let's go finish breakfast. There's nothing more we can do right now anyway. Yeah, Hunter agreed, unease spreading in his gut. They'll call us when they know something.
I like that. I really like that. I love when I get a author on here and I just get to kick back and do I close my eyes and I just enjoy story time. I try not to fall asleep because I got a show to run. But no, that was a fantastic show. And the thing I think the thing I liked the most about it was, oh man, all right. So there's a few things, but the thing I liked the most was your description. It made everything very palpable to all 5 senses. And you know, your description of not just sound but smell and everything else. It made it very movie like. The other thing that made it movie like was how you and they do this a lot in movies, is they'll cut between different characters and show what they're doing. And the thing that I really, really fucking loved was that it was the first story that I've heard or experienced that felt to me like a medieval horror story. Like there, and it feels like one of those classic like horror movies where like some college kids go to a whatever and they get just picked off one by one, right? But then it's mixed with this like, you know, it's mixed with this like you're in this old medieval fucking whatever, and there's this 100-year-old corpse, and you just got fantasy and magic elements, you know, incorporated into it. And it kind of feels like the Mummy a little bit, you know. It just, but it's awesome. That's super awesome. It drew me into the last second, and it was just like a movie in my head. And that is excellent when an author is able to do that with their description. And yeah, especially like I said, the way you cut between different characters really made it feel like a movie, like it was scenes of it when it was shot, you know.
Yeah, that's how I feel like when I write. It's like I see it in my head like that, and then I try to just convey it to the reader.
You did a great job. Yeah, no, that was fantastic. And I'm gonna have to go check out the rest of that book because that's awesome. That's awesome. I want to see what our other artists thought about it. Nasira, what'd you think?
I liked it. You had me cracking up when you said he turned around and looked and he was gone. I mean, he was like, as soon as you said skeleton, and he was out of there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
And that's a realistic reaction that someone would have for something like that when they're just not feeling it. Like, you know, you think you're scared now. You're talking about skeleton and bones, and I'm like, no, I'm gone. I'm out. That was good. I like that. That was good.
I liked when they first walked in and he kind of stuttered a little bit, and you like your inflection on the words was perfect too. You were like, okay. And then he was like, and then they were like, are you coming? And you're like, yeah, I'm coming. Like, yeah, that was perfect. Catrice, what'd you think?
I mean, you know, it really felt realistic to me, I guess. I think in pictures, like, you know what I'm saying? I love the fact I would listen to audibles often. That's how I say I read a lot. I listen to audibles a lot. So, but that was definitely like a picture, like a movie, like you said. I was able to walk with them, and I was able to journey that with them, and I was able to actually put faces to the characters that are in my real life. Like, how would we respond in those type of circumstances? And so, I thought it was really enjoyable and entertaining. So, I would love to, you know, read that or listen to it, or, you know, let us know how we can read it if it's finished. If not, let us know when it is finished so we can. Yeah.
Amazon.
It is finished and it's on Amazon. Yeah.
Amazon. Angela Harrison. Go check it out.
Okay,
Yeah.
Post a link somewhere so I can click and go, because I would love to read that. My son likes to read books like that too. So I think that he may enjoy it. I don't know if it has pictures in it. He likes books with pictures, but maybe if
How old is your son?
He's 10.
You got to use
Yeah,
your
no.
imagination.
You said no,
Or,
okay,
or
not yet. Okay,
now there's some spicy. There's a couple of scenes in there.
okay, never mind.
I know my
I'll read it then.
15-year-old
I'll
friend.
read it. I'll read it though. I'll read it.
I've already forbidden my children. My children are not allowed on my website. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh
Gotcha.
shit. Yeah, yeah. I I tell, people like your kids are more than welcome to like pop on camera, or you got them in the background. Like we have, like I said, we have artists that have their kids in the background all the time, but just know that like some of this shit
There's
might not
no telling.
be there's no telling what we're gonna say. Like some of this shit might not be kid friendly, so just be careful.
Yeah.
But
I tell my son, listen, if you hear it, you hear it, but I bet not
trigger
ever
warning.
hear you repeating it. Don't
Trigger warning,
repeat what you hear. Okay, this is
Yeah.
art. This is how it is, and every age bracket has their own freedom of art. Okay.
Yeah.
I
So,
will,
Yeah,
I
damn
will
right.
never
Damn right.
forget the first time my oldest son, like we were in traffic and someone cut me off and had to slam on the brakes. And this is when I knew that I need to watch myself in traffic, because he was like 6 years old and he sits up in the back seat and shakes his fist and like yelled, like said some choice curse words. And I was like, oh no,
There's
that did come from me.
a song that I really like that my dad used to play for me when I was a kid, and it was I think it's called "I've Been Watching You" or something like that. And yeah, you know the song, Brandon. Okay, so and there's this part in the song where he said uh I slammed on my brakes or whatever, and then my 4-year-old said a 4-letter word. It started with S, and I was concerned, and
Yeah.
and I was just like, I've always loved that part of the song too, because and it made him like think about like, because the chorus of the song is like, I've been watching you, Dad. You know what I mean? Like, so he's taking
Yeah.
after his dad. He's doing what his dad is doing, or whatever. I mean, it's like sometimes they learn the bad things too. They don't all just learn the good things that you want them to learn. They see
They tend
everything.
they learn the bad things quicker. Swear to God.
yeah.
Yeah. Shout out. Anyway, shout out to my old man. I don't think he's at work right now, so he's not able to watch the show, but shout out to him. But yeah, no. Anyway, yo, thank you for sharing that chapter with us. We'll catch you again in a few minutes for another excerpt of that.
I was gonna read actually an excerpt of one that's not published yet, but is close.
Hey, all right, cool.
Just to change it up and do something different.
All right, cool. I'll catch you in a few.
Okay.
Before we get to our next round of our main artists, we have a surprise pop in who's gonna just kick the door in and do what he does. He don't need an introduction. He don't need nothing. But if y'all want to follow him, you can find him on TikTok at CageC790. What's up, my man?
What's good, Dylan? How's
How you
it
doing,
pop?
bro?
Loving the show. I've been here since the beginning. Everybody, y'all doing great. Y'all are awesome. That story was fantastic. Y'all did a good job. That was awesome. I just wanted to pop in at the end.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Hell yeah, dude. I mean, we actually had a couple artists that were supposed to be here tonight too. So, and I always, me and Caleb kind of have a standing deal. I give him the link pretty much every time, and I'm just like, doors open, don't knock. You can walk in. We have time. We got you, bro. And so we got time tonight. So what you gonna do for us?
Well, I want to do one I've done before, but it's like this one is more of how my emotions are right now rather than just something I'm singing, because I'm not really feeling good. I'm high as fuck. I'm kind of drunk, ain't gonna lie, and I've had a pretty rough couple days, so I'm mostly
Sometimes it be like
doing
that.
this one. It's called Rose Petals.
Rose Petals. All right, man. I'm gonna drop myself out of here and I'll get that title up for you.
Hopeless like the fallen rose petals, red to brown if you let the blood settle. Heart of metal to reflect, direct tell, fell into a hole so deep my head's frail. Feet of lead so heavy, each step's a rep that represents I'm passionate, committed to the passages. Imagine this, a brain of laceration, compact with the past to brace it, to face it, cause I raised it. I don't face shit and shit don't faze me, but if it did, you get brains. See, I'll create a legacy before I let the red stain, before I let the pain drain. I'll leave a grain of sand in eyes that never want to open when the image is always myself, praying on my knees, hoping whatever these thoughts are, I'm not coping. I refuse to deal with these emotions. I reject them like they're bad toxins. I reflect them like they're bad omens. So when I'm low, I'll be able to project myself frozen with a dozen cuts that seep poison, dripping to the ground without reason. These emotions are bleeding while this ground is feeding. I'll let the grass grow greener. Fuck emotions, I'll get meaner. Fuck this commotion. Wash my hands and watch that dirt fall to rubble. It ain't worth the fucking trouble. So when shit's obscene, you create a scene, put it up on the big screen and be a fiend. Say, fuck it, be mean. So fuck it, be seen. So fuck it, come clean. I have 3 hearts on my sleeve with busted veins that leak through the creases. I watch limbs fall into pieces in dreams. The only dreams I can remember, I contend words to paper to forget the past, to pass over it. But history repeats itself, so I'm stuck with it, with drunk visions. It's like a prison without its walls. You're free, but damned to a static creed that leads to make believe. So I'll say my piece, I'll make peace with it. The opinion won't change. Every page will be the same, written like I'm committed to this pain, with eyes that can't handle the strain. A pen that only writes when it rains, it doesn't listen. It's like it's on its own train. These thought bubbles over my head that said everything I want to hear, but with so much in it, them thoughts just disappear. And that cost is my biggest fear, to cast a line and wait for them fucking fish to appear, is like hell to an impatient ear. I guess I'll have to steer my wheels on new gravel, unravel new marbles. Another dream, I dream to travel. The fact that in my mind that city's civil, no body-toting pistols aimed at my chest. A place where I can place my feet in the crest and understand where I stand till the land moves and my brain begins to crumble. A beautiful city turned to rubble from a severed stitch, hit with an emotional pitch, hitched to a conditional pistol, a fistful of grip, chrome barrel to brain marrow. Looking through a mirror, my eyes like black tar. I'm a wannabe hero. I wanna be pulled by the trigger. I figured the cost isn't worth the picture. It isn't worth these fucking fissures. A broken frame with a memento of us froze cold of what we could have been, but with that picture broken, frozen, there's no reason for you to remain stuck in my memory. Fuck, there's no reason for you to remain in my memory. Fucking shit, bro. There's no reason for you to remain a memory stuck in my liver like Hennessy. Problems get drunken, swell, bust, and leak resin. The residue of tears that hell I brain you choose. You left bruises on my brains, and I still restrain the demons. But when the ropes shake and the chains break, fuck the world. I pretend those thoughts are fake. I'll suspend creative energy from severed ropes and busted chains. When bruises heal and tears reel in, I'll drink the Hennessy till I forget that memory and drop that trigger finger. Pull the barrel from marrow and release the handle. Rubble or dust the city strong. Rebuild the walls stronger so next time they won't fall. So next time when the world shakes, my feet remains in place. There's no more broken veins, soaking pains. Lose your strength and break away. You lose control, you'll lose your way. Don't fade away. Just forget the pain, forget the rain, forget the cuts, forgive the veins, forgive this pen, forget my sins that collect in sins. I could sell them by the dozen, or I could rearrange them like a puzzle. If you try to figure me out, then good luck, when even I can't handle the counsel, riding the carousel stuck in a loop. They group immediate actions and fill potions with poison like it's attempted murder to my emotions. So I'll pour a cup of a glass half full and sip the poison till you feel less empty, and your brain warps, numbs the pain, and cause a ceasefire in the battle so you could be god of your own war. You could repair torn limbs and dreams evolve from fiend. You're the monster behind the scenes built to resolve the fallen rose petals. Red ovals, the symbol of my mistakes, hopeless like the silent sounds they make, falling through the air without a reason, a breeze to carry the leaves. If I dream to travel, then I'll follow this gravel until I discover new marvels. Get lost till tomorrow and forget the sorrow, at least till tomorrow, and my dreams forget to unravel.
God damn, yo, get some water. Take a breath. Take a breath. God damn. Bro, and that is why you don't need an introduction. You don't need a fucking invite. You don't need fucking shit. You just come on here, bro. And every fucking time, bro, you just take my mind on a fucking journey. Like, literally, you take my mind on a journey through your fucking mind. And
It's crazy.
do it in the most intricate, complex fucking. And, bro, your rhyme schemes, man, they're getting better and better and better. And some of those, bro, are like, I don't even want to get into it because they're so fucking good. They're so fucking good. Like, the trigger bar where you were,
I want to be pulled by the trigger.
no,
Yeah, dude, the whole thing with the gun and the whole fucking.
Your metaphors and your punchlines, they're so intricate that it's like you have to go back and like figure out where did that punchline begin, because where did by the time you get to the end of it, I'm not quite sure where the fucking punchline began, and I'm like, oh wait, hold on a minute, he was fucking like your mind just, it works in such a fucking intricate way, and you don't sacrifice themes, metaphors, fucking rhyme scheme. You don't sacrifice any of it, but you take us on this huge journey through your fucking brain, and how it works with every fucking piece. And you like to say a lot that, I mean, every piece that you do is like it's connected. It's like a big story. And as someone who's seen a lot of your pieces, like I definitely caught references to your other work in there, as I always do. One of the lines that stuck out to me the most, because obviously I don't get to write all of them down, but say my piece and then make my peace with it. I really like that, just as a general concept. I'm gonna say my piece and then make my peace with it. I really like that. That resonated with me. I mean, the whole song resonated with me, man. But like, when did you make that? Is that new? What?
No, dude, I've done that one before. I've done that one before on the show, but not with the emotion that it was supposed to have. And now on top of that, the reason why it's so long, that's a 5-minute beat.
Oh, okay. So you wrote it to a beat and then performed it a cappella. Okay.
I did that shit like way back. Like that whenever I was first on this show, it was before that.
Oh, so you probably did it on like one of our first couple episodes too. Yeah, it's been a hot minute.
I don't know. I knew that. I don't know. I just joined the room because I was like, bro, I don't even know. I'm just sitting here in my feelings, and I was like, what am I even gonna do? And I was like, just going through my music, and I'm like, dude, that sounds okay.
Dude. Sometimes it's just a therapy session. Sometimes you just got to come in, like, just talk your shit, you know.
Sometimes I definitely needed.
And get it.
I needed that burst of energy to come out. You know what I mean? Like I've just been sitting here in this house by myself with these kids all day, and don't get me wrong, I love them to death, but they're pulling strings.
I got a fucking broken foot. I've been doing nothing but sitting in the fucking house.
Dude,
I feel you. I'm bringing these other artists up though to see what they thought. What y'all think?
I liked it. You can really feel your emotion in the piece, and with you coming out the way that you did, I can see that it was a release within you as you were going through it. And I know that's what music does. It allows you to have that release. Music for me, I grew up in a musical family. My mom was really into the jazz world, so I grew up with jazz musicians coming over to the house 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, even though they just did a gig, 2 days in a row. The music will transform you. It will take you from where you were to a different place, and that place is always where you want to be. And you can definitely feel that in the lyrics of the song. So that was great.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I mean, like I said, I wrote in the comments, like, I just, healing out loud is exactly what that was. And what I know, I've been in those places before, and I find a picture, wherever, type it out, write it out, and then I recite it or read it, and it's like you just feel different afterwards. And I'm so glad, I'm so grateful that you decided to jump on here to use this space to release that energy, because I know that energy could be released in a different way that's not so healthy. You know what I'm saying? And so I commend you for using this safe space to exert that energy, because it could have been something different. And so I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for that. Like I said earlier, men, is hard. I know y'all got so much inside. I mean, women, we do too. You know what I'm saying? But most of the time in our society, men are not supposed to be vulnerable, not supposed to express in that soft space. And so it comes out sometimes as rage or frustration or so full of emotion. And that's what you gave us. And I don't know if anybody in the room didn't feel it, then I don't know. You might want to check your post. But that was amazing. Thank you.
I appreciate
you so
you.
much.
I appreciate you.
I agree with all of that. The energy, just the energy that it was done with. Like you can't help but feel it. Like you can't help but feel exactly what you're feeling. And I agree with that too. That it's so funny because I just posted on Facebook earlier today about that, about men not being allowed to express their emotions in our, current culture, society, whatever. So it's, yeah.
See,
Again, that was.
I had to take
I,
my hat off. I had to take my little hat off I had on earlier. I don't know if you knew I had a little. Yeah, I had to
I
take it off. I
firmly,
got hot in here.
I firmly believe about the whole men and their emotions and not being, the best way to ever do anything, okay, is to learn from a mistake or learn from the emotions that you put out and show other people. So a strong man should be able to cry and then be strong enough to take down whoever mocks him for it.
Yeah, I had spoke on that the last time, how over the years men have been so conditioned to just suck it up and deal with it. And the fact that now in this current environment, people are so surprised, and it's like they're saying, "Oh, you're human. You actually have feelings," and
Like,
it's
no shit. Yeah.
and it's
Yep. Yep.
crazy. It's like it's not like you didn't have them, but you've been socially suppressed to say that because you're a man, that you're not supposed to have those kind of feelings, and everybody is shocked now when they're seeing that, yeah, they do. I just seen on TikTok one of the ballers just totally break down. He's like, I can't do this anymore. I've been silent about this, but I can't do this anymore. I feel like crap every single day. The game don't mean the same thing to me no more. And I'm telling people how I'm feeling, and they're just telling me, take a pill, take a nap, go on vacation. And as he said, and I can go on vacation, and I've gone around the world, and it's just not happening. I don't feel the same love that I had. I don't have it anymore. And everybody, when men express themselves that way, like I said, they've been conditioned to just, hey, you can't feel like that. It'll be all right. Just, and it's not like that anymore.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
I was grunting.
No,
I
I
was
think
jumping over a baby gate.
a lot of people really think when we say toxic masculinity, you're just saying that men are toxic and masculinity is toxic. And no, not all forms of masculinity are toxic, but the toxic masculinity, it hurts both women and men. It's not something that just hurts women.
Right.
I think in my opinion, toxic masculinity is the men who tell other men to just suck it the fuck up.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, like I say that to my friends like as a joke. You know what I mean? And you say that to like friends and family as a joke. Oh, you suck it up. Suck it up, pussy. Like, get over it. You'll be fine. But you know what I mean? But I mean like people who actually believe that, who believe that like in order to function and that's, but here's the thing, it's not their fault though, because that's what they've been taught is the only way for them to function in society.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
But
And
unfortunately, yeah.
yeah, that, I mean, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just unfortunately when they believe that and they internalize that and they act on that, those a lot of times those are the men that are going to end up alone, divorced, their kids don't talk to them, you know, and they don't even realize like they're, because this is what they were told was the right way to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And I see it's a growing trend that we are breaking down this barrier where you have masculine on one side, feminine on the other side, and you've been dictated to how those lanes are supposed to work. And now with the multitudes of men who are now expressing their feelings, they are now talking about how the way they feel. This is now being able to be merged into a human condition. It's neither masculine, it's neither feminine. It is now a human condition. And the world is just fighting so hard to keep that from happening. But unfortunately, you're the ones that sing that we need to understand each other, that we need to believe in each other, that we need to love each other. Well, then this is how it's done. When you start erasing lanes that everybody should be in and allow them to go ahead and merge into the human condition, this is the first step in understanding and having humanity in the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I 100% agree with you. And yeah, I mean, you like we were saying earlier, as artists, like that's kind of our job is to bring light to humanity and the human condition, and just show everybody that you know, because my piece is different than your piece and your piece, and our writing styles are all different. But like the themes and the emotions and the lessons behind them are a lot the same. The same thing with a lot of different religions. Every Bible kind of says the same things in a way, because we all experience the human condition the same in different ways,
Mhm.
but we are all part of the human condition. You know what I mean? We all That's why everyone can relate to anxiety, everyone can relate to depression. And nowadays everyone can relate to fucking taxes and rent. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's part of the human condition, and as artists, whether it's male or female artists, I think it's our job to bring that out. And um, my man Cage over here does one of the most fantastic jobs of just being one of the prime examples of what a man like should be in terms of his emotional, like sharing his emotions and being open with, at least from what I've seen,
As
sharing his
as
emotions and being open, especially as an artist,
hey, good job.
um, and just being comfortable with himself, as a person. So props
Yeah,
to you, man.
as a man, if I go to another man and if I am crying and that man can't understand just the reason I'm crying and can't be there for me, I will lay that dude the fuck out because there ain't no fucking way. Like if I, because
Fucking
as a man, you should
you know
understand that
what?
if another man is coming to you to cry, there is
Not even worth
something
your time.
wrong.
If they can't understand, they ain't even worth your time. Like
I mean,
if they can't
to me,
understand, they have work to do on themselves. Like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's not your fucking
would,
problem.
that's why you teach them a lesson. You lay them out.
Not everything can be solved with violence, but I get your point.
Look. You know what? You know, a lot of things. I was about to get real
Yeah,
controversial
a
there. A
lot of
lot of
things
things
can
get solved with violence.
Anyway, man, thank you, bro. Thank you for
Not a
sharing that
problem.
with us tonight, bro. As always, it's great to have you on.
I always appreciate being here.
Hell yeah, man. Anyway, that's gonna bring us back around to wait, who went first? Oh, it was Jay. How you doing? You ready for your second piece? Oh, you're muted.
Yes. I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right. Word.
Tonight has been amazing. So thank you so much for the energy. If you don't mind, just based on where the energy pulled me, I pull in a different direction. And the name of this piece is overthinking.
Open thinking. All right. Cool.
Overthinking.
Overthinking. Okay, gotcha. Cool.
Thank you. Yeah. Um, Overthinking. There's so much to overstand. If I explained, you'd be enraged by the reality I've created in my brain, in my world. Like I said in the last piece, life be life in the heel out of me. And as soon as I cross my threshold, I'm crawling to sleep. Well, at least I think. Cause the silence my pillows speak wakes me up at 3. Yeah, I be feeling witching and twitching to get back to sleep. Like, did I put a spell on you or did you put a spell on me? I take melatonin, muscle relaxers, or so many shots I can't see. Eventually, I start praying, God, please guide me. I don't know what you're doing, but I just want some peace. Anxiety will trick your mental. Have you thinking that you're decompressing, but really ready to get physical? Like, I ain't no fighter. But I had been thinking apocalyptical. The gym becomes my escape from the sin of emptying another bottle. Addiction may be my heredity, but who am I to blame my ancestors for what's happening to me? Poetry allows me to release the fears that captivate my mind. Slave to anger and low self-esteem, insecurity, and loss of identity. Like, is everyone mad at me or just being me? Oh, that sounds like paranoia. I know God will force you into isolation, facing your fears with only Him. Ain't nothing no one can say or do to change the feelings within. Oftentimes, I cry briefly but I shake that stuff off. Can't have my son see me break, but most times I don't know how much more I can take. Have you ever been grateful, yet itching for the next step, wondering when your time will come, and repeating your regrets, reminiscing and missing moments when you should have said something different? I keep repeating, it's all good. Everything happens for a reason. I keep repeating, it's all good. Everything happens for a reason. I keep repeating, it's all good. Everything happens for a reason. I exhale, keep pushing, and keep waiting for my season. Poem.
Oh man, I gotta be careful how hard I clap because I don't want to blow people's ears out. Some people listen on Spotify with the eardrums, but or the earbuds. But man, that was fucking tastic, dude. There's so many pieces. There's so many lines in there that caught my attention. It, especially first of all, I guess I'll go backwards. At the end when you just kept repeating that, I tell myself it's all good. Like, oh man, that fucking resonated with me. And then the other thing you said that I've been feeling a lot lately is like, I can't remember exactly how you worded it, but like, have you ever been grateful, but like still wanted more, wanted better,
Yeah.
wanted to achieve more. And I feel
Mhm.
that so well, so much right now, especially where I'm at. Like we just got to 100 subscribers on YouTube, which
Mhm.
is like small in the grand scheme of things, but like
Mhm.
I'm so fucking grateful
Still
for it.
big. Yeah. Yeah.
But on the other hand, I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, what does 1,000 taste like? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not my
Yeah.
it's not just the personal success. It's just like I want this to grow. And I love that you were able to
Yeah.
shed light on that feeling. Because
Mhm.
some people just like when you kind of talk about that feeling, they'll call you an ingrate and they say you're not grateful for what you have or whatever. And it's just like, now you
Yeah.
can be grateful for what you have, but still want more.
Mhm.
You can have both things. Um,
Yeah.
Another thing I liked that you said was, life been lifing the hell out of me lately,
Mhm.
because I feel that so much. Life been lifing the hell out of me for sure.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
and then that juxtaposition metaphor at the beginning with the silence of your pillows waking you up, um, and just that vivid image. I
Mhm.
really so in my poetry, I really like to play with, juxtaposed themes, love and hatred, or silence and I love how you I have a one called Sound of Silence that plays with that a little bit, but yeah, I like that metaphor. That that resonated with me, for sure. I like that whole piece. That was great. That was great.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's just, that's just one of those times. Like that's why I call it overthinking because, we get to those places where we just start overthinking whatever, like whatever reality gives us. It's like what we deserve. You know what I'm saying? And whether it's too much or too little, we still tend to overthink it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like you deserve 100 followers. Yeah, you deserve 1,000. You know what I'm saying? And it's like at the point where we achieve the best, can be consistent with that so that you can get better than that,
Right.
and just being okay with that. But we especially artists, we're always like, but wait, we're always itching
Mm.
to move. So that's
Yeah.
that's basically where that came from.
And I like that. And that is kind of like what I was saying at the beginning too about, Angela's book that wasn't selling as well as she wanted to is like, you know, that's so that like you sometimes you can just be okay with that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? You can there's something poetic and healing about accepting flaws or accepting things that you would rather be better. You know
yeah,
what I mean? There's power in that.
yeah.
And I like that. I like that piece a lot.
Well, thank you.
Bring them up to see what they thought about it.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that speaks to so many things.
Mhm.
Not being satisfied, not settling, as an author, I'm always trying to top myself, trying to see, you know, what I can do better the next time around. And there was an actor that made this comment that you spoke to, where it's like at the top of every mountain is just the bottom of the next one. You have to keep going. You just can't settle. You don't have
I like that.
settle.
I like that. The top is the bottom of the next one. That's good. That's good.
You have to keep going, and you just settle. And we as women, we're always at that. You know, I got time right now. I can't dwell on that right now. Just like what's her name in what's that movie? She said, "I'm not gonna think about that today because tomorrow is another day." I can't.
Scarlett O'Hara.
Scarlett O'Hara.
Gone with the Wind.
Gone with the
That was Gone with the Wind.
That was Gone with the Wind. She said, "What am I gonna do?" She said, "I can't think about that right now because tomorrow is another day. I have to keep it up. I got to get up. I can't just sit here and dwell on this. I got to go." And I am one of those that just overthinks it. When I got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes two and a half weeks ago, my mind went into overdrive. I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't have this. I can't have that. And as a nurse, as a retired nurse, I know the pitfalls of not adhering to what the doctor's telling you when you get that diagnosis. So I was in my head literally for about 3 days. You would have thought somebody died in my family. I was mourning prognosis.
It's like that. It's like that. Yeah, absolutely.
Blessing of it where, okay, I'm not on insulin. I can have what I want. I just have to be careful as to what I eat. I have to cut my portions down. I have to be able to exercise better than what I'm doing. And the only thing that came out of that to keep me from continuously overthinking was just I pray for consistency to make sure that I can't fall. But I don't have time to think about what I can't do. I have to be able to pick this up and keep going and do what I need to do. And that was the only way that I could cut that. Sometimes you have to tell yourself to shut up. We ain't got time right now. We have to keep going. You just can't settle. Even though you can respect God's answer, you still just can't just lay down in it and go, you know, wow. And that's what that spoke to me. That was beautiful. That really was.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, and I know Dylan already said it, but that there at the end when you kept repeating the, you know, everything happens for a reason. Because you know, the first time it's like, yeah, and the second time it's like it's even more impactful. And I don't know, like the third time I don't know, and maybe it was the emotion in your voice or whatever, but like it damn near made me cry. Like, I'm like, yeah.
I think that's the only way that we can keep going. It's like, okay, like it happened for a reason. Like like you said, you know, you get to the top of one hill, it's the bottom of another. Like that's the reason. You know what I'm saying? Or even when you get to the bottom of a hill, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's the same thing, like vice versa. You know, you bottom of the hill, top of the hill, vice versa. So
as Miley Cyrus would say, it's the climb.
Yeah, absolutely. But yes,
that is, regardless of her other work, that is an amazing song, and
absolutely.
I love that one.
Yeah, that is fact.
That is always going to be one of my favorite songs, especially by her, because it's at the end of the day, it's about the climb.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yes.
And I'm gonna quote Finding Nemo. I'm sorry, but just keep swimming. That's what it makes me think of. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming.
I love that though. I love how they drop those lines in those unexpected places. Like you're like Gone with the Wind had a great line. You know what I'm saying? Miley Cyrus, like she got so much bad publicity. However, she created this amazing song. Like it's what it is. Like this is what artists do, right? We create these one-liners in the midst of the storm, in the midst of the climb, and it's impactful. And I appreciate y'all so much. This piece, you know, as artists, you know, we write these pieces and we got to go back and we got to read them, right? Not just for a show or open mic or platform, but just to encourage ourselves. And that's just the way the night has been going. That piece came up to me, and I wanted to share that with you guys. So thank y'all so much for listening. Thank you for your feedback. I'm really grateful and appreciative.
Yeah.
Thank
Absolutely.
you for
And
sharing it.
another thing I really liked is that like you had another piece prepared and you just kind of like went with the vibe and it definitely fit. I definitely like that. And I really like when artists come on here and they just feel the vibe and it's a it's a good environment. Like that's what this thing is all about,
Yeah,
just talking with like-minded people and just connecting you know what I mean, through our art. And
yeah,
yeah, thanks for being here and thanks for doing that.
no
We
problem.
got people cheering you on the comments. We got amazing. We got powerful words, Jay, uh, up on there. So yeah, definitely. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us. Stick around till the end. I'm just gonna, I'll do my piece and I'm gonna bring you guys up to say thank you and whatnot. That's gonna bring us back around to Miss Nasira here.
Yay.
I believe. Hey, how you doing?
Okay.
So you read. So what's is this? This is an excerpt from something that hasn't been published, right?
Nope. This is Malady of a Frankenstein.
Oh, you're doing. Oh, okay. All right. All right. All right.
I'm going to do an
Did you?
excerpt from this one. Can you see
All
it?
right. Ooh, that's a cool title or not title cover. That's a cool cover. I really like that.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
one, Malady of a Frankenstein is Victoria Elizabeth Frankenstein is the first female from a long line of Frankensteins. So I did not hedge too far from the original myth about it. The genre of Frankenstein genre. She is a descendant of the grandfather who created the monster that caused havoc. So it's more reality based than fantasy, but it's still fantasy. And so she is the only one. Apparently, one of the male Frankensteins fell in love with a Moor woman and spawned a child. And that child grew up with all the privileges that a Frankenstein should. It's just that now he's black instead of just mainstream. So that was a difference in my Frankenstein. Most of all, my major characters are African American, and it's the only way I know how to write. So I brought about a daughter of that lineage, and she's the only one from the long line of Frankensteins that captured her grandfather's genius. So here we have this young girl who graduated from college at the age of 13. She's written several books. She's authored many theses. She's well known in the scientific community. So she has all the brainiac of a Frankenstein that she would have, like her great grandfather. Because the great grandfather Frankenstein himself, he was a genius.
Hold on, real quick though, to clear this up because a lot of people get confused. Frankenstein is not the monster. Frankenstein is the doctor who created the monster.
Right. That's right.
Sorry.
That's
Continue.
right. You're right. And a lot of people do get that confused because they always want to say Frankenstein monster, but no, it was Frankenstein's monster. It was his monster. Frankenstein was the doctor that actually came up with this. So we're at a point.
Descended from him.
It was taken from him. So in this piece, we're at the point where Victoria, who lost her mom, she felt that with all that genius that she had when her mom had cancer, that she had to be able to find a cure. Her mom, who had been through rigorous chemo, decided, I'm not doing this anymore. I can't. I just want to go home and I want to die in peace with my loved ones around me. And it's just her dad, her mom, and her. So she was trying to race against time to try to find a cure because she felt that with all this genius I have, I should be able to find a cure for my mom. And she wasn't able to do that. So her mom passed away and she had to deal with that. Then her father, who loved his wife so much, just could not go on without her. And so he ended his own life so he would be with her because he couldn't do it. Every hallway he walked through that house, he would hear her voice. He would see images of her. He still slept with a gown that she slept in his bed at night. He just could not go on without her. So he went ahead and joined her. That left Victoria by herself. In walks Teo and Tintin. Teo and Tintin were best friends from the beginning. They ran across Victoria in her most needed time and befriended her, and they became like a family. During the course of them being close together, Victoria found that she had feelings for Teo. And this was the first time that love has ever come to her at all. So with her bond with Teo, she poured, like she did her studies, everything she had into that relationship with her. So in other words, Teo became her whole central world. She was the one who kept her in check. She was the one that brought this newfound emotion that she never thought she would ever have. I mean, she's been scholastically sequestered all her life, and now she's
I
found
like that.
love
Those
for
are,
the
those,
time.
I'm gonna get me a word of the day calendar and start. Those are. Hold on, say that again.
She's been scholastically sequestered her whole life. All she knows is science,
Scholastically
math,
sequestered.
sequestered.
Say
So
that
all she
5 times
knows
fast.
is scientific things and math, and that's all she knows.
Right.
So this newly awakened love she has, just like I said, just like she poured herself within her studies, she poured herself in this relationship. Teo became her center, her whole world. This is her whole reason for being. Teo was killed in a carjacking, and her life was taken. And so here we have Victoria, who is like, she's already talked to God, and she was like, "You are making me defy you. You're giving me something, and now you're taking it away." And because she has an issue with death, she's lost her mom, she's lost her dad, and now you're taking away the one thing that I love. And she's telling God, "You're gonna make me defy you on this. Why does death always have to have a say?" And
Yeah.
she's determined that she's not gonna let go of Teo. So in this part,
I don't want you. I am very interested in what you're saying. I don't want you to give away your whole book.
nah.
Because I do want it to sell for you. So, but this definitely, I'm gonna have to check out your everybody. By the way, another plug. Go to her Amazon page. And is it under Nasira or is it under Camila?
It's under Nasira.
Nasira. Okay.
All my
Okay.
works
So yeah.
are always under Nasira.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, everybody, make sure y'all go check that out and get this book. So how far into the book are you going to be reading tonight? Like where like halfway?
It's
Or?
just a small excerpt. I'm not going to go too far in it because I don't want to give it all away.
Right.
But we're at the point where Teo has passed, and this is what Victoria is going to do.
Okay.
Victoria was in her lab carrying Teo in her arms. She put her body in the bathtub and was running cold water. She submerged her in it. She walked over to the locked cabinet and took a bottle of the chemical and poured them into the water. It turned blue. Victoria got a chair and brought it into the bathroom and sat down beside her. She put her hand in the water to touch Teo. "My love, I can't let you die. I can't." Victoria, with her great-grandfather's notebook, worked notoriously in the day and the night, not sleeping or eating. She only took breaks to check in on Tintin. On the third day, she felt dizzy. She knew she needed to keep her strength, so she decided to get something to eat. While she was in the kitchen, there was the doorbell. She picked up the cell phone to open the monitor app and saw that it was two detectives that she had met at the hospital at her door. She opened it. "Hello, can I help you, detective?" She was humbly. The two looked at each other. "May we come in?" Detective Danes asked her. She stood back and opened the door so that they could come in. "Sure," she spoke. She closed the door as they entered into the foyer. "Come this way. Would you like some tea or water?" "No, thank you," they said. They followed her into the living room. "Please sit down," she asked them. It was Detective Danes that spoke to her. "I know that you are having to go what you're going through a lot, and we don't mean to intrude, but something has come up at the hospital." Detective Abbott was looking down at the floor for a moment. "This has never happened before. We both are a little at odds with the situation," Detective Abbott told her. "Someone came into the morgue last night and removed your girlfriend's body." Victoria closed her eyes. "You mean they moved her?" she said. "No, they took her body from the hospital." Victoria sat back against the couch and closed her eyes. "Do you know who did it?" Detective Abbott cleared his throat. The hospital cameras were having issues, and the morgue is the one place that cameras are not focused on. The only departments on the lower floor are the morgue and housekeeping, where they wash the linen. And the parking lot, she asked. We looked at the security tape. The angles just picked up a shadow. We questioned everyone on the shift that night. A doctor said that she saw someone in a wheelchair and spoke to the person, but she had an emergency and had to go to surgery. She thought the person was lost because they had a lab jacket. So to her, there was nothing suspicious. Detective Danes told her. Victoria frowned and looked at the ground. How does something like this happen? She asked. We think the people that shot her took her for whatever reason. We've posted a guard at your friend Timothy's door. Victoria's eyes were full of tears. I can't bury her if there's no body, she said, and she put her hands to her face and cried. Detective Danes moved over to her and pulled her close to comfort her. I'm sorry. I wish we had better news. Victoria got a hold of herself. Thank you. They rose up to leave. Victoria walked behind them to the front door. She opened it for them. Take my card, Detective Danes gave her one. Call me if you need to talk or just anything. Victoria struggled to keep from crying. Thank you. They walked out. I feel sorry for her. I know what you mean. I don't know what I would do if my lover was killed and my best friend was laid up in the hospital with uncertainty. He spoke to his partner. Yeah, it's got to be rough. That's that.
Oh, geez. Geez, I wasn't expecting it to end that quick. I was kind of just sitting like enjoying the story. And then I was like, and you're like, that's that. I was like, oh, that's my cue. Again. No, that was fantastic. And much like I said, to Angela, the movie, I love an author that can create like a movie or a show, in my brain. To me, that felt more like a show than a movie for some reason. I don't know what the style, or maybe it was just the whole like detective kind of nature or hospital nature of it. Kind of felt like one of those shows. But that's not in a bad way at all. I love those shows. And yeah, no, it was very descriptive, and like I said, that's one of the main things. That's the first and main thing that I look for in artists. It's like, can I mean, even without closing my eyes, can I have a solid picture in my brain, and this movie of like these scenes that are playing out, and you did that very well. And I like the character creation in the sense that like I felt like their person, you had a very good grasp on who everybody was and their personalities and their inflections on words and just who they are, and I feel like you took a lot of time developing this world and people's backgrounds and who they are and where they come from and whatnot, and it feels very fleshed out to me. And I really like that.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. I want to bring them up to see what they thought about it. Oh, here we go. What y'all think?
I am so intrigued by this idea. I want to know what happens when she brings her girlfriend back to life. Like, is it right? Because generally, right, they're not the same. Like, is this a monkey's paw type situation, or like I know because Frankenstein, the monster was maybe not completely
A
what
work
we
in
would consider.
progress, you could say.
Yeah,
A
so
fixer upper.
I am so intrigued by this idea.
That's the thing that I'm glad you said that, because that's something that's always intrigued me about like things like Pet Cemetery, or that Tim Burton kids movie Frankenweenie or
Yeah.
whatever, is like when something comes back, is it the same? Like, is it the person that you wanted to bring back? Are they, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that'll be interesting to
Pet
see, like,
Cemetery. Pet
is it
Cemetery.
Pet
Yeah.
Cemetery? What did I say?
Oh,
I don't know.
Frankenweenie. You might have said that too.
It was Frankie. I meant to say Pet Cemetery as well, but yeah, they they'd be interesting to see, like, yeah, you want to bring like a lot. Everybody would love, like, that's the ultimate wish, right? To be able to keep your loved ones forever. But everyone has a time for a reason, and when you go fucking with the natural order of things, like it doesn't always turn out the best. And that's why it's called Frankenstein's monster and not Frankenstein's little buddy that had picnics and like, you know what I mean, like you gotta sometimes fucking with natural order doesn't always turn out well. So yeah, I'm interested in that. Jay, what'd you think?
Yeah, I agree with both of you on that. And as a woman who loves women, I just appreciate the twist on the storyline and everything. So I love stories. I love books. I love the characters that are realistic to the characters or the people. Let me not say the characters that we live with, but the people that we know in real life. And so I just appreciate that. And I can't wait to be able to read it or listen when it is complete.
Yeah, it's out there on Amazon. I
Oh, okay.
I think the reason why I liked it so much, because this one is one of the books. Well, I have joy in all of them, but this one was intriguing to me to create it this way because the original Frankenstein monster was made of bits and pieces of cadavers. And in this version, she's actually using science, true science. In the old version, he thought he was using science as he knew it. And that's why he felt that, yeah, I need cadavers if I'm going to do what I want to do to see if I can bring the dead back to life. And in this more modern version, nobody's going to go around digging up cadavers. But because she had that scientific mind, she's like, well, there's got to be a serum that I can come up with. I don't need a cadaver. I need her. I just want her back. I don't care about creating anybody else. As with her predecessor, he was just interested in just creating life, period, from dead flesh.
Yeah.
She wanted her woman back. That's what she wanted. She didn't care about anything else other than bringing Tail back, and that was the driving force in this one. And that's why I like this take of Frankenstein the best.
There's a
And
movie
I
on
think
Netflix. I can't remember the name of the movie. It was about a little girl who I think she also put some body parts together to bring her brother. Actually, I think she had her brother's body already. She didn't have to get part. I can't remember the name of the movie, but
I think I've seen that. Yeah, I was
yeah.
thinking of that too.
Yeah, I didn't watch the whole movie, not on purpose. I think I got, distracted. I had to go do something else, but I just thought about it was the same concept. Like she brought her brother back because that was her family. That was all she had left. And she just used him, like his body.
It's weird though, because when you talk about science, there's this weird crossover, and that's why they call it, science fiction. And then there's this weird crossover between science fiction and fantasy, where you have to deal with the physical and then the metaphysical. Like, okay, yes, you can bring the body back, and technically you can reanimate the mind, but and this is the whole debate: is we can't prove that a soul exists. I personally believe that souls exist, but we can't prove. You can't see it here. Science is something you can see, hear, touch, feel, and prove with beyond a doubt.
Right.
And you can't prove a human soul, and so therefore, theoretically, yeah, you bring our mind back to reanimate our mind, and all our synapses are firing exactly the same, and so we should think and act the same way we did. But is there a thing where our soul has moved on or gone somewhere else, or is no longer able to be part of our body, or at least part of our soul?
that's the
And that's
horrifying. That's the horrifying idea. If the body comes back to life without the soul in it, then what do you really have?
Right.
That's what.
right. And
That's the
there's
horror
been
piece.
so many takes on that. There's been so many different takes on that I really love. One of my favorite was a show that I watched, Supernatural. It's been like, it was one of the best and biggest shows on television for a long time. And at one point, one of the main characters, for a whole season, is walking around without his soul,
Yeah.
and he's still walking, talking, acting the same, but he knows why he should do certain things, but he doesn't feel them. And so he ends up sticking his foot in his mouth and insulting a lot of people because he simply doesn't understand why it's insulting or why he should give a fuck.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have empathy anymore. It was a really interesting take on the concept. But yeah, it's been done a lot of times, and I like. It's really interesting concept to think about. I could
Well,
go
and
on
I
about
really
that.
like the way she's telling, like she's struggling. It's kind of a struggle, right? Because she's not just like, hey, I'm just going to bring her back. Like she, on some level, must feel that this is like not the right thing to do, because she's literally saying to God, like, why are you testing me? Why are you doing this? Like, so you can kind of see that, like, maybe a moral dilemma. She's going to do it, but it's, she's questioning, like, God, like, why do you keep doing this to me? Like, you pushed me to
Right.
this.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like that, and I like how you were able to show her moral dilemma in that, and kind of like show that, like, kind of foreshadow that things might not go as she
That's
plans, but you know what, you do crazy things out of love, and
Oh, yeah.
wars have been started over love.
yes.
Crazier things have been not done in the name of love. So
Yeah, pussy is a dangerous thing.
Is that the one you said wasn't doing as well as the others that you have out there?
Yeah,
That's surprising, because this is a very interesting concept. It's a very unique take. So, and I wonder, have you marketed it or promoted it anywhere where there are people who are looking for LBGT content?
Well,
I know. First of all, I know multiple people on here who are. So my audience, please go check out her book.
Yeah.
My publisher does my marketing for me. I self promote at will, and I've gone into the LGBTQ workshops that they have on Facebook, and the ones that support the authors. And I posted, the book, and I posted excerpts. So yeah, I do promote it. But it's just sometimes, like Dylan says, sometimes it just, you gotta let it go if it's not going to do what my others are doing. But I also know that the concept is completely different as well. And sometimes
I think that those things just come in waves. Like everything comes in waves. It's just some whatever is trending now will not be trending next year.
right.
And it's like we just have to stay consistent with
That's why they're
this.
called trends.
Yeah, like
But
you
I
loved
think
it.
also,
Go ahead, Angela. No. Go ahead, Angela. Go ahead.
I was just saying, like, I think what part of the thing is when you brand yourself, right? Because your other books are probably more similar. So that's people who are looking for that specific content. They know your name now. And this is, kind of outside the box of what you usually do. And that's probably all it is. It's just, I think that's something I struggle with. Like when I'm like, if I'm really going to be successful as a writer and I'm going to sell books, like I feel like you need to brand yourself and you need to, like, this is what I'm writing. People want to know what they're buying. And I'm like, my problem is I want to write everything.
Right. Yeah, that's it.
I
There's that same dilemma with Kidra, because when Kidra first came out, Kidra was a single book. It was a standalone. I had no intentions of making it into a series, because I was afraid that your fans sometimes will trap you by your character and not by your genre. And I wanted to be captured by my genre. I didn't want to be known as the author Kidra the same way that J.K. Rowling is with Harry Potter. That girl can't write nothing unless it's related to Harry Potter. She is trying.
And the actors who played in those movies are the same way. They can't break free of those roles. Apart from maybe Emma Watson, none of them have been able to break free from those roles. And actors have that same problem.
And your fans will do that to you. So when my business manager was like, okay, so if somebody comes to you and says, we'd like to see part 2 and throw money on the table, you're going to walk away from it. And I'm like, if it's against the integrity of what it is I'm trying to do, yeah. But then I went back and read my own book and realized that there were so many questions that the first book just left open. So I said, okay, fine, I'll go ahead and start on chapter 2. And then in the middle of doing part 2, I said, oh man, it's going to be part 3. And so I went ahead and finished it and thought that I had actually closed everything out. I thought, okay, 1, 2, 3, that's it. I do not want to get trapped by Kidra. I had a fan contact me and said, is there going to be a book 4? And I'm saying to myself, what makes you think there's going to be a book 4? Apparently, I left one of my characters out of a battle and left her alive. I'm like, oh my God, I killed everybody off.
You missed
so
one.
Now I missed one and I couldn't believe I missed one. I'm like, how did that happen? I was trying to be final about the whole series. And now there's a question on the table.
There's always going to be something.
Are you going to do book 4? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. Because I'm so afraid of being trapped like that. I don't want to be trapped like that. And it's so easy to happen. I mean,
double-edged
girl
sword.
that walked right now. Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. And I just did not want to be trapped by my characters. I really, really, really want to be trapped by my genre because that will allow me to branch out into everything else. And I don't know.
I definitely feel that.
I know
sorry, go ahead.
I know there are authors who publish different genres under different pen names. So I don't know if that's anything you've considered.
Not with, I got an exclusive contract with my publisher. I can't do it.
Yeah, no, okay.
I had one book that was already on Amazon that I had self-published and I had to pull it down because she said you cannot be in competition with yourself and have this contract with me. So I'm like, okay, let me pull it down. So I had to pull it down. So yeah, I thought about that. Yeah, I've got a publisher who's listening to me and I'd be afraid to lose that. So no, can't do it.
That's something that kind of has I've been thinking about a little bit with. So I was talking at the beginning of the show about how we're kind of branching out a little bit, doing a few different things with the show. And I've definitely felt this with my art before too, is like, I'm very diverse. You know, I write spoken word that doesn't rhyme. I write rap. I write, rhyming poetry. I write some fantasy stories. I write a little bit of everything. So, and I've never really gotten any backlash as far as that's concerned. But I am a little concerned about branching out. And there's some creators on YouTube and whatnot who, they'll do multiple types of podcasts. There'll be one that's more serious, and then it'll be, one that's fun or whatever. And, so I've been thinking about branching out and doing other kinds of shows for a while. But that's kind of the thing that kind of stopped me for a while. It's just like, first of all, I'm going to put it all under, this Lostboys brand, but I want it to, I don't want to be, I want the show to still have value and not be devalued by any other shows that I'm doing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Whether like if I'm doing comedy, I don't want that to make the serious, in-depth like conversations that I have on here any less meaningful just because I'm goofing off on there and because it's a different media. Same thing if we're like the adventure blog that I'm talking about. We're just gonna go outside. We're gonna film fishing and do some cool adventure outside. We got a lot of stuff planned, but it's gonna be a lot different than that, right? And right now, my audience obviously is. The reason they're here is for this. The reason they're here is for the poetry, the stories, the art, the in-depth conversation. Like they didn't come here for comedy and outdoor videos. And so for a while I struggled with myself like, okay, do I shove content in people's face who didn't even ask for it? But then I came to the realization that it's like we were talking about, you know what I mean? I don't want to be trapped by one thing, and I want people to see other sides of me and other sides of my character and other sides of my life. And I just decided like, fuck it, let's go for it. And now we got like 3 other shows on the fence ready to kick off. So sometimes you just gotta let yourself step out of your comfort zone and see what's possible.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's true.
But yeah, thank you very much for sharing that with us. Stick around to the end of the show just so I can bring you up and say goodbye and thank you and whatnot.
I
Um,
appreciate it.
we're gonna wrap up with some story time from Angela, and then um, what the heck? What? Sorry, my computer just glitched.
Oh no.
There we go. There we go. Okay, are you?
So yeah. So I was gonna
Do
do
you have
another
any?
excerpt. What?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah. Sorry.
Tell me this. Can you still see me? Can you see me now?
Yeah, you're good. You're good. I think it was my computer that glitched. I'm not exactly sure what happened.
Okay.
Um, but yeah. Okay, so
So
you were
I was gonna read from another one of my unpublished ones that I'm working on, but actually I want to do a poem now
okay.
because I've got to now.
You've been inspired.
I did. No, it's everyone, every person who's done poetry tonight has made me think of this poem that I wrote because, and I'm like, seriously, I'm like, this is, yeah, it's a short one, but it's called The Fray.
The
It just makes
fray.
me
All
think
right.
of what we've been talking about with how, what poetry should be. And
That is one of my favorite bands. I'm sure it's not at all related, but I just wanted to. Anyway, I will. I'm gonna pop that title up for you and get myself out of here.
okay. All right. I'm going to read this. The world is full of pain. The world is so unfair. To those who are different, the world does not care. Women, minorities, the poor, the downtrodden, the weak. What's the score? Screaming silently, no one seems to hear, or at least to respond to the pain and fear. Trying in vain to fix it, but others deny that it's broken. How can you fix it if it's not broken? Frustration, anger, that's how it plays out. Then it's their fault, not allowed to shout. Silently scream in pain and frustration, deny the reality of your station. This is what the world wants. But screw the world. Ignore the taunts. Be a warrior. Speak out. It's the only way to make the world better. Wade into the fray.
Ooh, I like that. Wade into the fray. Like that's ties. I love how that's the last piece because we started the show talking. We started the show with Jay's piece, and it was along those same lines of being a word warrior and going into the fray and helping those who can't help themselves. And yeah, I am so happy that you decided to do a poetry piece for us too, because fantastic poet. You are a fantastic poet.
Thank you.
And yeah, I liked how the rhyme scheme was there, but not like it was very subtle. It was a very subtle rhyme scheme. It wasn't an A B or even
Yeah, I do
like
the every other, yeah.
right. It was I liked it. It was subtle and soft spoken, and yeah, I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that, and I liked how it wrapped up the theme of the entire show as well.
I just kept thinking as we were talking, as I was listening to other people's pieces and we were talking about all these things, my mind just kept going to that piece. So I'm like, I've got to do it. I've got to switch it up.
Sometimes, man, and I like to think and I'm not religious, and you can think of this as God or Buddha or whoever you want, but I like to think of that as the universe is sending you a message. Like you're I often say that as artists, we are conduits. Our job is we are basically like one of those things that you plug into the wall and then you can plug multiple different things into it. Our job is to receive the energy from the universe and output it back into the universe. You know what I mean? We are just conduits for the universe's energy. So if the universe is sending you a certain type of energy, like you gotta put it out there. That's our job as artists. We are like we're like little batteries,
Yeah.
charge me up and watch me go. I'm a little fucking energizer bunny.
Like the Energizer Bunny.
Yeah,
It just keeps going
yeah.
and going and going.
Ding, 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 ding. Yeah. I'm gonna bring these other artists up to see what they thought.
Yeah, it's
Let's do.
definitely keeping with the theme that we seem to have set for ourselves this evening about empowerment and not being afraid to speak out your emotions and understand that, yeah, you do have the ability to do that. And, forget the stereotypes that society has placed us in. We're no longer, like I said, we're no longer in two separate lanes anymore. And the more that people realize that and speak up and speak out, the better the environment is going to get.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not sure if she might have had to step away for a moment. But yeah, no, I absolutely agree with what you were saying, Nasira. And again, Angela, fantastic way to wrap up a theme. I don't typically go into these shows with a theme. We have had themed episodes. They're typically holidays, like we did Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween. Shit. I guess we haven't done an Easter episode, and that's tomorrow. So happy Easter, everyone. Maybe next week I'll write an Easter poem or something.
It was an impromptu theme tonight.
I don't know. Maybe
You remember when you said how when Cage was on that you are expressing your emotion about, and putting it into your words for the emotion that you feel at the time. I thought of something. I have a little bit of trivia about that because you had mentioned that, you can take what you're going through and you can put it into writing and you can put it into rap and you can put it into a song because it expresses how you feel. And that the more that you do that, the more healing that it is. This trivia I'm finna drop on you. I just found out about this like a year ago. But you remember the movie Steel Magnolias?
Yes.
Have you seen it?
Sure. I'm not sure if I have.
Jay, have you seen it? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to check this out apparently.
You gotta check it out. The original version, not the one that Queen Latifah and them did, but the original one. The one that that first came out with Dolly Parton and all of them. That book was actually written in tribute that the author did to his sister. His sister actually died. And he wrote that he had a diary that he was keeping during the time when she was going through what she was a diabetic and her kidney stopped functioning. And when she did die, he mourned her so bad that he just couldn't get out of it. Well, his best friend was a producer. And he was like, why don't you write down what you're feeling? And the result of that was Still Magnolias. So it actually is based on his sister and the experience that he had with her. It was taken from the view of the oldest brother in the family. He's the one that actually did the writing about it. But I had no idea that that's where that came from, that it was actually based on true life. And it's amazing. People say this all the time, how art will imitate life completely. And that
because it's made from life. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's amazing.
I might have to watch that movie tonight. I don't know. After events like this, I don't want to go to sleep. I don't know how about y'all, but when you're on these open mics and these features late at night, it's like the energy.
Yeah.
So you're going to have me watching Still Magnolias until 3 a.m. Thank you.
All right.
That's great.
Make sure I don't even have a pen. Hold on. Still Magnolias?
Yeah, it's STEEL.
Yeah, it's the one with Julia Roberts. Dolly Parton is in it. What is her name?
Sally Field.
Sally Fields is in it. Yeah, if you watch this, you might as well get you a box of Kleenex because she's got a scene on there that's a killer.
And somebody passes away, doesn't it? Is it?
I'm not telling you. I never tell them.
One of those characters pass away. I'm gonna have to watch it. I think it's Sally Field's character that gets sick. I'm gonna watch it. Yeah, I'm sure it's on Netflix or Hulu or something.
I have seen this movie several times, and that one scene that Sally does, I through it. I cannot get past it without crying.
Yes.
You better get.
Let me find out where I can watch this movie.
All right. Definitely check it out. Definitely for sure. Thank you guys so much. I'm gonna wrap us up with a piece that I wrote tonight, or not. I didn't write it. Well, I wrote the last couple lines of it tonight. I wrote it over the past couple days. I recently broke my foot, and it's been a struggle. And this is a piece about the struggle that it's been, I suppose, since breaking my foot. And I titled it Diary of a Gimpy Kid. And it goes like this. Crippled and maimed, I sit here in pain. I sit here all day and I'm going insane. Tried to stand up, I just fell on my face. I just broke a foot, and I know that sounds lame, but I feel like these crutches have busted my brain. Tell me, how in the fuck do you not just get stuck in the deepest of ruts when you're literally stuck and can't even get up? Tell me, how in the fuck do you not just give up? Tell me, how in the fuck do you sit and put up with the voices that tell you you're never enough when you want to move forward but can't even budge? Thought you were drowning before it, but now you have sunk. This physical pain tests my mental endurance. I can't go to work, so it's hard to find purpose. My boss says the doctor must say that I'm perfect. Now my financials are fucked because I ain't got insurance. So I sit here all day, so I sit here and wonder if life's even worth it. I sit here and wonder if I just deserve it. Like Marshall, I'm cursed to just blurt this berserk shit. So this must be the karma. This must be my karma for words that are hurting, the ones that I love when I pull back the curtain. Since my birth on this earth, I've been worse than a serpent. The evil and lies are defining my person. I thought it'd be better with time, and it seems to just worsen. With every line that I rhyme, I just feel more uncertain. So I'll say that I'm fine, because they can't know that I'm hurting. But for now, I guess I'll digress with the mess in my head. The lesson, I guess, is to make life the best when you can, and cherish the moments that aren't spent in bed, because there are just seconds before you'll be dead. And that is that piece. And I kind of fucked up the last line. It was supposed to be cherish the seconds that aren't spent in bed, because there are just seconds before you'll be dead. But anyway, that's that piece. What do y'all think?
You know, that is every expression of every person that feels that way when their independence has been
Yes.
when you realize that you can't do the things that you used to do, when you are confined because you have to be. And that speaks to that. And yeah, you're dead on balls about that one, because that's all the thoughts that you have when you're laying up there and you're like, I gotta call people to bring me water. You know what I'm saying? When you got kids at home and you're trapped in the bed because you can't move, and you know your independence has been threatened. That is every thought of every person who has had that happen to them, where you start reflecting, you know, who life did I wrong in another life? What happened? How did this happen to me? You know? Yeah, that speaks to that. That was good. That was real good.
Thank you.
That was real good.
I like the there's a bit of humor in it too, a little, like, you know, self-deprecating.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll have to go back and watch my catalog, as they say. That's my main body of work, is a little bit of self-deprecation mixed with, you know, a little bit of fucking, you know, kick myself, because I always say, on one hand, I feel like a piece of shit, and the other hand, I feel like the dopest person in the world. And that's how I make my art. And that's how I make my art, is like, so is in the middle realm between self-deprecating and self-empowerment. And that's where I find myself in most of my pieces, is right between self-deprecation and self-empowerment.
I think I'm the same. What's your sign?
I believe Virgo.
Okay. Yeah, I find myself in the same place. I'm a Sagittarius, born in December. So sometimes I write in that self-deprecating sad space. And it's like I've kind of trained myself to, like, okay, I gotta end this better. But I'm now at a place where I'm like, nah, I don't have to end it better. It could just be bad all the way through. You know what I'm saying? I can just self-deprecate the whole piece if I want to.
Is you notice, like, at the end there, like it was, you know, I ended it with, you know, for now I'll digress on the mess in my head, and then, you know, the lesson, I guess, because for some reason, like you were saying, is like I have to have some lesson at the end of it, or some like moral, or something that I, because
but I think that's us trying to please others, like.
Yeah, partly, but partly it's also like a therapy. You know what I mean? Like,
that's true.
Go to therapy to work something out, and I want to have work something out in that session.
Yeah, I feel you. I agree.
I get what you mean about pleasing others.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. You know what? Listen, I know that being in that place can be so disheartening, you know, because you don't know. And that was really the reason why I really jumped into my healing journey, because I had open heart surgery, and for 2 months I couldn't do anything normal. Like I had a pandemic before there was a pandemic. You know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't leave the house, I couldn't drive. and it puts you in a place where all you can do is handle you. All you can do is deal with you because you can't do anything else. You can't be around people like that unless they come to you, and you really find out who's down for you when
Yeah,
you're down.
yes, right.
Mhm.
You find and because you know that the numbers of people that are around you when you're up decrease when you're down,
That's right.
all you got to do is deal with you. And it's important now that's why, it's like, listen, don't tear yourself down. Don't self-deprecate. Not now.
Mhm.
Not now, because now is your place to really build yourself up because you don't have a choice because you can't move the way you normally move.
That's
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I like
Yeah.
to go on and preach sometimes.
No,
I
no,
apologize.
for
You
sure.
preach, you do.
Hell
yeah.
yeah. No, no,
We're here
you're
for it.
speaking Bibles of truth.
Mhm.
And something I want to say though is I think that in order to heal physically, you have to, in order to do anything physically or and vice versa, you have to be healthy mentally, and in order to be healthy mentally, you have to be healthy physically. And so it's kind of a catch 22 when you're when you
Yeah.
when you when you're in a position like this. It's kind of a catch 22 is like, you know I feel, and me, I believe in like just energies can heal. Like I have seen documentaries on people literally just from fucking good words and soft touches just heal broken bones like way quicker than they should. Like just like there are people that work with energies in a way that are just mind blowing. And so I believe that like your chakra or your whatever you want to call it, um being aligned and you having a healthy mental energy
Mhm.
Absolutely.
will help you heal faster,
Absolutely.
whether you're just
Absolutely.
having a stomach ache or you have a headache or you have a broken foot or whatever.
Absolutely.
So I do want to
Absolutely.
say thank you guys for coming here and helping me heal, and
Oh
giving me you
yeah.
guys energy.
Oh, you're welcome. There,
Man.
there is one
Absolutely.
thing that made me realize about what the power of positive energy can be. There is, when I worked in labor in the nursery for on the labor and delivery floor, there is a technique that they use now. It wasn't done in the past, but it's called the kangaroo syndrome, kangaroo pat. And what they do now is that if you notice when you see women who give birth and whatever, they place the baby on the chest of the mom like right away. They've always done that. But what they weren't doing is that they were taking the NICU babies and placing them on the chest. Like when you go in and volunteer to help the babies in NICU, they do what's called the kangaroo, and they'll go ahead and on your bare chest, place a baby who is sick on your bare chest. Your energy actually can heal that baby. I've seen it. All of a sudden, the stats have gone up. The baby is thriving where it wasn't thriving before. And that is
Mm,
the truest example of what your positive energy can do for someone. And ever since
mhm,
I've seen it, I'm like, yep, I always knew that there was a connection. But
mhm,
yeah, it is. And a lot of people scoff at it, but that kangaroo is just amazing, amazing to the NICU kids. And it's the purest example that I know that I've seen where energy, positive energy, has a positive effect. And it really
mm.
it does.
That's
And
it.
so there's this, and then okay, now obviously most people have seen Grey's Anatomy. I personally haven't seen the later seasons, so I don't know if it gets like if they stray off the path. But from what I've seen so far, like they do a good job. Like yeah, it's a drama show, a lot of it, but when it comes to the medical stuff, like there's a lot of lines in there, and it's very well written. Where they're essentially it's like they've done all they can do, and it's like there's so some of the characters have a god complex, and then some of the characters are very know that those characters
Mm,
can't live without God because when they've done all they can do,
Mm-hmm.
they need to put their faith in something else or whatever. And I love how it's like a lot of the scenes that I've seen that connect with me in that show are just scenes that are where people just their friendships or whatever are what helped them persevere through these medical conditions, or their family or their friends or their whatever their religious beliefs and whatnot are what helped them persevere, because that energy is a real thing no matter where it comes from, and it is a powerful thing.
Yeah, it is. It's
It
powerful.
is.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But thank you guys for hearing that, and thank you guys for coming out and being with me tonight and sharing your stuff. It's been awesome, and I can't wait to have you guys back up again. Make sure you all go follow all of their stuff. There's a whole long list of it that I won't drag you through right now, but it's a good reason for you to go rewind the episode and check it out. And so go check out all their TikToks, all their Amazons, all their books, all their Instagrams, everything. And we will catch you guys again another time. Thank y'all so much.
You're so welcome.
All right.
You have a blessed night.
And
Good night, y'all.
catch us next Saturday at 9 p.m. in the circle, same time, same place. And you can go follow us on all the platforms you can find your podcasts. We had technical difficulties earlier, so I have to do this all by hand. Anywhere you can find your podcast, you can email me at lostboy420x or follow me and message me on Facebook at Dylan Lawler if you want to come on the show. And that's about it, guys. So thank y'all so much. And have a good night.